Futures little change to start the morning, coming off yet another negative showing on Monday as we saw quite the sell-off into the close late in the day, led by tech shares once again. It is overall choppy start to the week, though, as we saw both the S&P and NASDAQ end the day lower yesterday, while the Dow was basically unchanged. As we said, markets awaiting key inflation data coming up on Thursday morning. We'll have that CPI data for you at 8:30 on Thursday morning. We're watching Peloton shares once again this morning. Big moves for Peloton in the boardroom. New CEO, some board of directors changing places. They also updated their current quarter guidance ahead of earnings tonight for Peloton. Meta also on the move once again this morning. We'll have a look at Facebook shares. Peter Thiel leaving the board of directors for FB, and Pfizer to the downside this morning as well after their forecast came up a little bit short of estimates. So lots to discuss on a busy Tuesday. It's February 8th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. There we go. Look at, a bit of a mixed board right now. The Dow hanging on to positive territory. The S&P and NASDAQ already in the red. Not huge moves, but a little bit more of what we saw to start the week on Monday. So far this morning, TSX here in Toronto, futures pointing to a positive start, but only just. Everything else on that board at the bottom end back to the downside. Good start to the week for cryptocurrencies, but back in the red this morning, 1% for Bitcoin, Ethereum as well, 2.3%. Going to be a busy morning here. We had lots happened in the pre-market, guys. It seems. Good morning. Peloton with
the hardest working man is back.
He's back.
Randy in the background. Randy back from a busy weekend skiing, joining us this morning. But anyways, a busy morning, guys, as far as movement as well. We'll talk about Meta. We'll talk about Peloton, of course, and obviously DWAC moving around here in the pre-market again.
Right, of course.
DWAC.
Yes, that's what happened last night. So welcome, everybody. If you were tuning in at the close yesterday, then you saw crazy action happening in DWAC, also moving at the time, Funware, CFVI. The overall market going absolutely ham into the close, selling off. So we're expecting some fireworks here. It's not like we got a crazy amount of earnings today, but Peloton with that update, with the shakeup, it's already, Peloton's already put in work in the pre-market. I mean, it was down to $25. Now we're back testing over to the 30 level. So volatility's here. I'm still eyeballing Square 100. Just a heck of a lot to get to. Heck, and Harley Davidson, one of the names that actually upside. Not a lot of volume, but strong earnings for them. Pfizer the other way to the downside as that continues to fall under a little bit of pressure. And all of this in front of what should be an interesting inflation number at the end of the week. So there's going to be a heck of a lot to cover. Should be an exciting day of trade here. You definitely want to buckle up. We've seen the volatility the last couple of days. You have to expect things are going to move a little bit more than normal. And there's even a few more of these small cap runners this morning. Those have been kind of moving to the wayside a little bit here, but there's a couple worth talking about this morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? DWAC should be very, very interesting here at this 86 level. So I think I'm going to look at that. That's already on the sticky note. We talked about it on the sticky note as well, that today's lesson is going to be, I'm just refreshing a couple things here. Today's lesson was going to be to try to be as patient as possible, because yesterday we just simply put over traded some of these names. Some of the ideas we had were right, and then we got off of them. And so that's what we're talking about here on the sticky note today. And it's really just very, very simple. I was putting it on here. Today's goal is to be more patient, either hold on to our initial ideas or take a step back and reevaluate. So we have Peloton, Pfizer, DWAC. They're all on here on the sticky note. It should be a good day. Like I said, that DWAC 86 is very, very interesting. That should get taken out, I think, at some point. And then we'll see if it can get up to 92, 93 area. And then Pfizer's finally at, maybe an investable level. I don't know. The report wasn't great here. Finally down to that $50 that we've talked about over and over again as a level that we like. So right into here, $50. We've been down here before, and now we're down here again on earnings. So let's wait to see what Pfizer does. I'm going to be a buyer near that $50 level just to support that, and then we'll see where we go from there. But so far, so good here this morning with quite a lot of names, man. Microsoft at 300, Facebook moving around like you mentioned, Peloton can't stay out of the news with CEO stepping down. So this should be really exciting.
A lot to discuss this morning. We'll get into some of these numbers from Peloton this morning, again, ahead of earnings expected after market tonight, along with the earnings call. If you're joining us for the first time in a few days, Ms. V off on vacation, much needed vacation. She'll be back with us coming up next Monday. So we wish her well and hope she's enjoying her time. All right, let's go. So it was Blackwell, if you remember, that came out, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and said, basically, they want Peloton to find a buyer and sell the company. So even after, guys, all of these changes that they announced this morning, new CEO, some board of directors switching places, they updated their current quarter as well. Blackwell comes out and says, nope, that's not good enough. They're still calling for more urgent action, as they say it anyways. Finally,
honestly. I mean, Peloton's been, they've run themselves into the ground. I mean, we were calling that, even when it was like $30, $40, $50, the stock. Well, it's at 30 now. But, you know, we were saying that we needed new management in here. You know, these current guys have ran this thing completely into the ground. Yesterday, completely overtraded. We were long when it was going down and then short when it was going up. And then at the end of the day was okay. I think we had some decent winners. It was more the long that popped through that 30, 50 and then got some out and then it just tanked. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so that was good, and then we gave some back. Yeah, so basically yesterday, Peloton and Facebook were the two red stocks for me yesterday, and that's really comes to that note again, is like try to be as patient as we can with this. So what I like here is, honestly, I like what they're talking about. A few different, I mean, we have it on our notes there. Forward guidance, not great, but again, slashing some numbers. We're still talking 3.8 billion coming through revenues and stuff like that. So there is, you know, a lot of potential here, I feel like, to make money with Peloton. I just think they need to find their way. They lost their way. I mean, they went into clothing. They went into treadmills. And they just, I feel like they should have focused more on their core business, which seems to be expensive shirt hangers and clothes hangers and things like that that they call bikes. But again, I feel like they have a good product. They have a good subscriber base. And someone's going to come in and buy these guys. It's just a matter of what value. So today, I think I like the 30 long, and I think we'll try to stick with that. And then in order to be wrong, I think we got to at least break to 28. So we're going to try to use the right amount of shares that if we have a 30 long, you know, we'll be able to make some money if it goes up to this 30 half or 31 half yesterday. But at the same time, we got to be very, very aware of this 28 bottom. So, you know, let's not take anything early for me. I want to see this thing settle down. If it takes 30, we'll get into that, and then we'll manage it from there. But for me, I'm looking long 30 or short this 28. Yeah, I mean, the updates that they've sort of given going in front of these earnings, like they expect to still have 3 million connected fitness subscribers. That's down from what was expected, certainly, but 3 million is not nothing. Like there's a there. Right, like there's something about this business which gives it a bit of staying power, and everybody, like if you've sort of known or looked into fitness and that industry, like there's ebbs and flows, right? So you get these waves of popularity, and things will pull back, and then some things will last more than others. So through all of that, and even with reopening, there's still something there for them. Whether or not something happens with regards to this deal, the time's going to tell. Even though CEO stepped down, they still have vast control of voting rights. So nothing can actually happen without I think it's fully approval. So, you know, ultimately that's the kind of thing that you can't put a timeline on it, right? Like who knows? It might be trading pretty actively for weeks, months before you get any kind of a resolution. But activists are definitely stirring the pot. I think your best support. I mean, we're not anywhere here. I thought when I sat down, the stock was trading at $25 when I sat down, so thinking that we'd actually get a test of 23 seemed reasonable. Anytime you get a wipeout top like this into 34 and then right back in, I always look right at what the previous resistance was and just say, okay, we just had a shakeout day on a gap up where none of the levels held and nothing made any sense, and suddenly we're right back here retesting that 30 level. So, you know, as far as it looks to me, it still needs to break out of that 30 range because yesterday's break was totally invalidated, which means you still have, to me, a resistance level around that 30, which gives you an opportunity here to trade off of. As far as downside action, I mean, I don't know, 25, 23. Support, that's with a grain of salt down for any support levels on Peloton. But it's going to be a wild day of trading here, and just be cautious at 9:30. You know, I'm expecting like a Snap-like open for this name. Yeah, I was going to mention Snap here down. Big mover last week, obviously. Snap Inc. Down on an offering, so 1.25 billion convertible senior notes due 28.
So if you remember that we had quite the session or two going back to the end of last week, but down 4% on that, guys. We're back to 36. I guess 35 was really that big level for Snap.
Yeah, Snapchat. So I was just looking at CFVI there. I do like CFVI and DWAC. Today we'll talk about that. We had a little bit of news yesterday with Rumble and with Joe Rogan and things like that. So, I mean, I think CFVI has a lot of runway as well. And I just responded to somebody on Twitter. Thank you so much for asking and for looking at the sticky note, noticing that DWAC was on there. Okay, so Snapchat yesterday, I mean, let's just go to a 20-minute chart. They had that monster beat after that monster miss by Facebook, sent them spiraling down, and then all of a sudden their first profitable quarter comes, and it's like, surprise, you're up 70% this day. I think it was 67 or 68% this day, and it was a lot of fun to trade it, but it was also a nightmare. There's not, you may look at Snapchat and think there's a lot of protection on some of these levels, but this really opens up when it starts to trade. Like it almost trades like it's a $300 stock. Like it'll just move $1, $2, just bang, bang, bang. We know that it's very, very violent. So based on that news, obviously what Brendan was just talking about, not positive there. So let's see what we can see on the downside here for Snapchat with an offering. So there it is here, protecting 36. So I don't know. For me, I think we'll just wait to see what happens. We're getting close to 36 right now. If it takes out this 36 bottom, then possibly, what's on the 20-minute? I mean, there's really nothing down here. We did support around this 35 on the crazy day there. Came back in and stopped around 35. Again, I feel like Snapchat is a failing business, but it's obviously not as they turn profits. So I'm trying not to let my emotions get the best of me here. But I know TikTok is eating people's lunches. So if Snapchat is the same kind of thing, although it's more of a messaging platform than a entertainment platform, Snapchat seems to be doing well. So let's see what happens with this offering. It's 1.4 million shares, and maybe we have support at 36.
Yeah, I was thinking yesterday, okay, well, Snapchat, if it wants to make a breakout, it has to hold the 37, 38 area. It did a great job of almost doing nothing yesterday. If you look at relative to the couple of days before, you got a 38 range at the bottom here that got broken just at the open for like one decent short that we had, and then it just did nothing the rest of the day till that flush at the end of the day, and then 39.5 at the top. So $1.50 range effectively was essentially nothing. But that first day, like that 70% up day, including the gap up, that morning flush came off a 37 resistance and then a 38 up here at the top. And then when those broke, that's where you got that big run. So that is that target entry area. Once we breach 38, I'm looking the other direction now. It's just, it's a short to 38, in between 37, 38, into that target area, get out if it breaks 38. And then if it holds that previous level, it's almost like, okay, well, we gapped up, we tried to break out, we consolidated, get an offer, and we go right back below the range. So just turn that into resistance. If it breaks, then you have nothing to look at till the top. And there was also that wick bottom at 34. So whether you like 34 or 35, there's certainly enough room to the downside on Snapchat, but I'm not trying to short it here. Like, forget it. Like, either it comes to me here up at 38, in front of 38, or we don't get it at all. No chasing it. No shenanigans. Either you get the fill or you don't. I got a similar attitude with Pfizer today as well.
So just quickly here, Brendan, before we throw it back to you. New position alert. I said I'd be more patient. It's right on. It's right on the sticky note. But there it goes, Peloton. And I didn't even put the stop order. I saw it break, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go in with a small amount of shares here so we can watch it, because it's the idea that we had here for Peloton breaking through 30. So we'll take it right now. We're long at 30.08. We let it break, so we just let this break and then come back in, and then we got long 30.08. So right now, it's a 25-cent win here for Peloton. I'm trying to be patient with this. Like I said, we're going to get out a little bit here at 90 if we can. Actually, not a little bit. We'll get out of half at 90 here if we are able to. And then if we're going to be right, then we'll let this thing continue to float up and make a little bit of a winner instead of a big monster one. Let's just like try to baby this, because I'd be so upset if I put on a decent position and this thing went right back to 28 and I got out. So let's wait to see where this goes, Brendo. But new position, Peloton.
It is trade is a trade, right? It doesn't matter what time it is. A few few notable earnings to talk about this morning. TTWO was one that was on the earnings board. First off, I mean, there was higher, it was lower in the aftermarket. Ends up being basically flat here. Pre-market 1.7 to the downside. Also, Harley Davidson out this morning with a big move here on very, very light volume. It's worth mentioning 7% to the upside after a beat for Harley Davidson. Also want to mention AMGN was another one that popped up. Aftermarket yesterday, I noticed on a decent report here. So this one already back towards the highs, guys, but huge level here for this one, 230 on the daily chart.
Yeah, Amgen was watching that. That's
Hog.
a big level on that daily. Hog, Harley, 40 a big level on the daily for them. And look, we sleep on some of these that do light volume, that have strong earnings. In a market like this, I don't think you want to. Like, we missed out on Tyson Foods yesterday by not being aggressive with it. I mean, it's going to happen. Obviously, it didn't have a lot of volume, so I'm not going to complain about sort of ignoring something that wasn't trading pre-market. But in the case of Hog, I think if we get any chance to maybe scoop this one in front of 38 near the open, because the spread's just, I mean, whatever. There's no liquidity in here. Maybe closer to the open there's something. But there's room to that 40 level, certainly. And you want to latch on to things that are strong or that have positive earnings here. So, I mean, Hog's on the radar. Like I said, it would be on my quote board today to make sure that we watch it. Maybe we get something at the open, but if it's still doing essentially like I'm watching a level 2 and I'm watching a time in sales, and it's like nothing is even happening on this stock. You're seeing like a few 100 share prints, and most of them sub 100 share lots. So not a heck of a lot. There is one order sitting here for the open at 40,000 shares at about 39 bucks. But Hog, strong report, and you don't want to ignore the things that are relatively strong. Made that mistake with Bill and Tyson Foods last couple of days, and you know, if there's an opportunity early in Hog to bounce off 38, I'll see if I can take it.
Just a lot of talk. We will get to Velodyne here at one point, but again, just came out warrants there for, I think we wrote down what, $4.18. Yeah. So 39.6 million shares Amazon with the warrant there at 4.18. So really they connect. I don't know why this is really that big news. I mean, it's great for the stock going from 370 up to $7 and then coming right back in. But it's just the fact that they're the LiDAR sensor there. So maybe there's something brewing with this. We know Amazon's involved there, and the warrants are coming out at 4.18. So we will talk about this. It's on our, go to our watch list, tradertv.live, sign up, grab the watch list. It's completely free. All the notes are on there. I mean, I'm just reading it as we speak. They can put on a board member, so on and so forth. So we'll just wait to see. I mean, a lot of companies get warrants on various ideas that they're in with. So Velodyne here with Amazon, not a bad partner. But we've also seen, remember one of Amazon's other partners, Rivian? Yeah, not a partner, but a company that they're invested in here. That hasn't been well. So let's wait to see Velodyne. Let's see it open up, and we'll talk a bit about it in a little bit.
It was a monster move aftermarket on VLDR. Some of the sympathy plays also in that space on the move this morning as well. We're happy to have Ryan Spillis joining us, a brand new Day Trade the World floor owner and operator here in Toronto, joining us for the first time. Great to have you, Ryan. Welcome, first of all. Busy week, lots to discuss this morning. First off, maybe give everyone just an introduction here on how you got started, and maybe a little bit on how you would describe what type of trader you are.
Yeah, thanks. So I started trading with Neil and Sean once upon a time when they had their own office. Saw them on a show, got really, really intrigued. The opportunity presented itself to me. So we started trading as a manager about a year ago. It's been quite challenging considering the fact the first day that we did open up the office, I think it was the official day of lockdowns. So our office is currently in Toronto. It's under major renovations right now. So we are all trading remotely. The type of trader that I am, I'm very similar to how Sean trades. I'm a momentum trader mainly. I'm terrible at trading fades in the marketplace. So I usually like to go with the momentum of things. But yeah, that's the kind of the journey that's been presenting itself so far, and it's been fun. I mean, I think the opportunity that Day Trade the World offers has been pretty tremendous up to this point. So I'm looking forward to the journey.
Have you? Let's discuss a few things here moving around this morning. Obviously, Peloton making all the headlines over the past couple of days. I mean, yesterday ends up, we get the huge gap to the upside and it ends up just kind of fading off here. More news this morning. How are you going to approach PTON today?
Oh boy, we have a few of our guys looking at Peloton. It's difficult to ignore considering the amount of volume that it's been trading. We're looking at Pfizer too. $50 is a pretty good level of interest for us. I've been looking at Facebook over the last couple of days, but it's just been melting. It looks like it's a roller coaster ride. It hasn't stopped. I am looking at Ford myself this morning, looking for it to break out of this range between, let me see here. It's trading between 1750 and 1820. So I'm looking to trade possibly the breakout if it does do that. I try to remind myself every day that I got to focus more on the managing side of the business as opposed to just the trading side. But yeah, I mean, if I have some time here and there, I'll take a few trades.
When it comes to the managing side of the business, what would you say is the most, I mean, obviously with the pandemic, it's been a challenging period to interact with anyone, but what would you say is the most challenging part of the day? Is it the interaction with traders and trying to help them along the way, or maybe just overall trying to get bodies in seats?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is setting people's expectations accordingly. There's this rhetoric in the marketplace that it takes 6-7 months before you become successful. I believe there's no overnight success. I mean, not Neil and Sean are testament. They've been doing this for quite a long time. They've put in their 10,000 hours. So usually, typically, when we recruit traders, we like to tell them what they need to hear rather than what they want to hear. And we let them know that the journey takes up to 9 months to a year before they become profitable. So.
Definitely a realistic expectation. If anyone wants to maybe reach out and get in touch as far as opportunities are concerned, what's the best way for them to do that?
So they can send us an email at apex.capital@outlook.com. There you can send us a resume if you'd like, or tell us a little bit about yourself. Trading experience is recommended. It's not required. As long as you have the desire to learn and you're in this for the long haul, then we'll be happy to teach you along the way.
It's been a pleasure, Ryan. Best of luck. We wish you nothing but the best, obviously. Ryan Spillis, Day Trade the World floor owner and operator here in Toronto. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a great day. It's, as we said, been a challenging couple of years with the pandemic, guys. But as everyone has seen behind you two over there, there's not a lot of people here yet either.
Really?
Yeah.
Be quiet. Trade more.
Good to see
Yo,
Ryan.
What's up, Tony? I see Tony over there.
Tony's
what's up,
over
Tony?
there.
What's up, Tony?
Greg's
Thanks
here.
to Ryan. I mean, I think it was it? I don't want to say the email because I missed it, but it was apex.capital@outlook. We'll get that for you.
Yeah.
Brendan, maybe if you have that, we can throw it back to Brendan just to confirm, because I think he went over that pretty fast. But hey, if you did want to get involved with any other offices, Day Trade the World is worldwide.
Yeah, and look, the key thing, one of the things Ryan said there that I think is important for everyone to understand, it's like you don't have to come into trading with experience. Right, like it's something that you can learn. That's one of the reasons Day Trade the World does what they do and has the risk management system and the training programs and the simulator. And I've found, I mean, we talked about this before, Sean, that sometimes, not always, but sometimes traders that almost know too much or come back with too much of a background, what happens is they start out on the floor. And then they haven't exactly the idea of how they want to trade, what they want to trade, how they want to make money. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this breakout, opening range break, or whatever it is. And they're so fixated on whatever their experience is that they're not open to learning when they get in front of a level 2 and some of the other tools that they have. So that open-mindedness, that passion, that is certainly what it's all about for anyone that's looking to start trading. You don't necessarily have to. You have to have a passion for it. You don't have to have a wealth of experience. It can help, though, obviously, to know some of those basics.
So I, in a past life, I worked as basically that trading floor development. So, I know Ryan and I know a lot of different offices. I've opened up hundreds of these offices here at Day Trade the World. Unfortunately, like I see in the chat, there is some talk about U.S. offices, and unfortunately, due to regulations and whatnot and stuff, I'd rather not get into now because we have a show. That's not possible. So we'll move on from that. But if you are interested, go to DTTW. I actually tested that yesterday. It works. DTTW. So you don't have to keep saying Day Trade the World, but go to daytradetheworld.com, type in into Google, it'll come up. There's a chat box there. You'll be directed with sales, and then they'll be able to answer all of your questions. So thank you for the questions. I know you're directing some of them at me, but honestly, for now, I'll just direct it to our website, and our professional team there will be able to answer all your questions. But I have a question, and that is what's been upgraded and downgraded? I mean, I think we have a segment for that.
I think so.
Yeah, we'll look. We'll get that email, guys. We'll have it in the chat for you when we do get it. Comcast, MGM, NIO, and XPEV. So both, along with Li Auto on the upgrade side of things this morning for the Chinese EV makers. I mean, not huge moves here in the pre-market, but worth a note. Yeah, there's Meta over there to the downside. GM's here, Digital Turbine, and SelectQuote, guys.
Yeah, I just can't believe we're on the Day Trade the World website here. I still can't believe Meta is still getting downgraded over and over again. Like, I don't know, man. I got some decent capital in there yesterday at close. I had to convince my father to pull the trigger, and now today he's probably going to pull the trigger at me. Down 1.64% again. Yeah, like you don't want to mess with Italians and go the wrong way. I may be swimming with said fishes at some point here, but let's just see what happens with Facebook now. Look, this may be, all kidding aside, like, at some point I think you have to nibble a little bit, and I know we had Kevin O'Leary on, and his opinion was to buy it, and that was like Friday, or he was on Friday, yeah. So yeah, exactly. How can you get the watches? I thought someone said, how could you get your family in this name? Yeah, watches.tradertv.live, sticky note at TraderTV Sean. Okay, but what I was getting at here was at some point there has to be some value unlocked in this name. They make a hell of a lot of money. They have a hell of a lot of cash. This is not a Peloton. This is not an Affirm. This is not like a company that's a joke. A lot of people feel like, where they're moving is not the right direction. The metaverse has been a big waste of money, which it has, and it is a forward pull. Like, we have no idea what metaverse is eventually going to be, and some people think it's going to be nothing, and they may be completely right. I mean, do you really want to sit down and like watch a movie and eat popcorn with a dude while you put with a female dude, whatever, as you put on your Oculus and you just sit there on your couch? To me, that's not the same thing. I feel like the metaverse is a lot more than that, and people putting out memes and things like that about Meta, but I really think there's a big advertising opportunity with the metaverse, and we're just going to wait to see where it goes. But for me with Facebook, what we did write down here is eventually this thing is going to get bought. Eventually these downgrades are going to start to turn to upgrades. People are going to say it's too low based on valuation, and I just feel like Facebook at some point gets bought. I don't know if that point is today. I wanted to test along here at 224. So again, you see this bottom that was made yesterday. Like, if we take that bottom, then, let's try to play long. It's also a good short opportunity right there. So, I mean, I'm looking at 224. Let's call it the pivot point. I mean, it's not really, that's a calculation, but, let's call it 224, a key level there, a pivot point, and we'll make our decision once it gets up to that level. If it takes 220 down, I mean, I think we have to push the short. I mean, I think you just got to push the button, short 220, and if you're in trouble on that, there's a 222 area right here that we've resisted. So, I think there are some opportunities, but I'm going to try to be as patient as possible with Facebook today, wait for some of these key levels. I don't have any orders out right now. There's still a half hour to go, and I'm going to use 224 as that line in the sand area to give me an idea.
Yeah, like it's, you know what, you just talk about Facebook. I have a very similar thing where it's a short till it's not. It hasn't found a bottom yet, but one of the names on that list, General Motors catching a downgrade, and you saw Ford get beat up a little bit. These are off those highs. It's weird, like you saw Barclays initiate upweights on all the Chinese EV names that have been beaten down on the same day the GM gets a downgrade down 4%. It's getting right into a very, very key level, this 47. If we've already broken 50 this morning, but just have a look at this 47 and the potential gap fill down there if it does break this 47 level all the way back in August of last year. So about $1.50 away from this on General Motors. That's a key price level. We're going to stick to those key prices. And I have not, someone said in the chat, don't forget about Square 100. I have not forgotten about Square 100.
Square 100 is great. Affirm, I think, is going to be on watch day. People talking about, I just see it here, that this is going to be, quite a big move down day. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be another leg to drop. There needs to be someone from the Fed to come out and get really real hawkish again or something in order, because the NASDAQ's been relatively calm. I mean, I know it's tough to say that when you look at your portfolio, depending on the names you're holding, it could be a pretty rough ride. But, you know, we're up or down. It's rough in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I find, like, you know, we could make up 1% and then finish down 0.5%, and it feels like we just got, like, face washed there. But I do want to shout out to Daryl, and I meant to say that, and I forgot. You know, Facebook, as far as advertisers is concerned, as far as money flowing in, as far as a business, I think it's great. But again, the privacy issues and the trust and things like that are becoming a major issue. There was a story, shout out to Tim, put it in our chat there, about, you know, dropping Europe and dropping some of their, you know, posts that are happening there. They can't lose Europe. I mean, I know North America is huge, but I mean, that's a major site of wealth and investing opportunities as well from a sales standpoint for Facebook. So if anything happens with some of their European, you know, like shutting down Instagram or Facebook over there, that's a big problem. So we'll wait on that. But again, I think it is trust issues, and I don't know if that's ever going to be resolved. So if you don't believe that, then I don't think Facebook's investable. But if you do believe in the space, then I think it's worth nibbling. Look, you don't have to put your whole account into it. I mean, if you're playing with 100 grand, you could put in 5,000 here at this level, something like that, 5% of your portfolio in Facebook. If you're a tech kind of guy, I don't think that's horrible at these levels. How much further can we go?
Just seeing a move in some of the cruise lines here, guys. Norwegian out with a bit of a business update, I guess, on their operations. So that just caused this move from 22 up to about 22.75 or so. Big levels up here around 23. For NCLH, these were, if you remember, very strong yesterday. So a little bit of extension here for Norwegian to start things off. Let's bring in Arun and get a check of the overall market this morning. Flat once again, Arun. What are you looking at?
Well, flat once again, and we're not going to be doing a whole lot different, anything different from yesterday, right? Same levels, same areas that we're going to be working with. 46.20 up top, 45.80 going into it will be a potential short. 43.95 from 44.35, that's going to be your support zone as well. And inside of that big area, you have a smaller kind of, I guess, midpoint levels you can work with. They're not as solid, but if you get the right setup, you can just take a quick shot, get the move, capture it, and then walk away, right? And then that would be 45.65. It starts at 45.25 going on up, and then you have 44.65, which was yesterday's level. That slid a little bit after, last, I guess, towards the end there when we kind of slipped through 65. So I'm going to move that level down. The level's still valid. 44.60 is now the point I'm looking at. So we're sitting at 73. We can potentially set something up. If there's a long, it's got to set up soon. If there's a setup, though, that's a critical thing, right? These levels are, since they're not majors, I'm going to have to get the proper setup to get them going. But 44.60 is available in the event that we do get a proper setup going into the open. So 44.60 is there. 45.65 is there. And then you have the big two majors at 46.20 and 43.95. So it does look like it's going to be another quiet day unless we get a breakout, preferably to the upside, because that actually would open up the levels a little bit more. Because if we were to break down through 44.60, we're going to run into support 20 points lower. So there's very little space to the downside before we hit support. It doesn't mean we won't take it out, but I'm just saying in terms of running into support, it doesn't have as much space as the upside does if we were to take out that, say, 65. So I would prefer the upside, but hey, be open to both sides. We've got the midpoint levels and we've got the larger levels. Let's figure out if we can do something today. If we can't, just sit back, be patient, just like yesterday. At some point, this market is going to move, and when it does, we'll be ready for it.
All right, thanks, Arun. Great stuff. Yeah, it should be an interesting one, as we said yesterday. A little bit choppy ahead, possibly, of Thursday when we'll get that CPI data. The market kind of waiting to see. There we go. That is the watch list, guys. Every morning, it is delivered right to you via that link. For free. So all you need is an email address to sign up for that. So let's get into the watch list and what is moving around here in the pre-market this morning. As we said, Peloton out with a whole bunch of news once again. As far as headlines are concerned this morning, co-founder and CEO John Foley stepping away, update to their current quarter as well coming through. So another day, another interesting move here for Peloton, guys.
Yeah, so did we decide that they reported or not? Because there's a conference call going on right now. So, yeah, I think they must have, right? So here goes Peloton right here to the upside. We are now 60 cents in the money. So yes, sir. We'll go belly dance method again here as we just touched 80, actually. Like I said from the beginning, we're waiting at 90. So if Peloton rips up to 90 area, that's where we'll be, and hopefully we'll get touched out, and then we'll see if it can get up past some of the highs from before. Look, there it is. Yes, sir. Finally, let's go. Fire off the cannons early as it just takes out 31 right now on Peloton. So there we go, 31, 31.40. Starting to make a move to the upside. $1 now in the money, so thank God for this one finally working out here on Peloton. But here we go. So that's the level that we're looking at. Hopefully we take that out and all is well. We've already put some bids down here because there was a level developed. So down here near 29, we'll see if we can take a long, and then we'll average in, and then our out where we're going to be wrong is going to be back here at 28. So, you know, patience I think is the key. My trades aren't showing up from yesterday, although they were earlier. I think I made like over 100 different trades yesterday on Peloton, just including all the fills and whatnot. Way too many. We'll try to do more like here where we pick a spot and then get out and then try to get out again. I like Peloton here. I think with all the buyout rumors, with Foley stepping down, new management coming through, discussing obviously things here on a call right now. So I like Peloton. I think that we could be able to find some good levels. They're slashing jobs now, which, hey, if you're not making any money and you're on a downward spiral, probably getting rid of 2,800 jobs, although not great. We never like to hear that. Probably good as an investor, trim some of that fat off there. But Peloton right now working. We're 1 for 1 on this name, and we're going to try to just be more calm today and watch Peloton as much as we can and try to pick out some good levels. So let's see what happens here. I'd love to get a dip buy.
Yeah, and they're not trimming any of their roster of instructors. Like, it's just like these are corporate jobs. Like, this is, you know, sort of sticking to your core as it were, which is you know, getting people on bikes and getting them motivation. Like, that's what they do, and that's what they've been able to attract. I'm just looking back to this. You know, there was a level in the afternoon, like late afternoon, there was a spike into about 31.30. I just saw it kind of turn around at that particular price there. I don't like that for a break. I think you either are in or not. I've been looking, sort of said in the chat when someone was saying, I think it was Vivek saying, oh, I like 30 for a short, and Sean's got the long there. Yeah, I mean, I like that level. I just feel like I want to wait until the open because you're sort of in the middle. Like, when you're trading below that range, it's good resistance. But once you've broken out here, like, that top sits at 33, 34. I don't know where you're wrong on a short till you get to about, you know, that 33 to 34 range, unless you are playing it off of that 30 level. So for me, I'm probably going to sit it out a bit. Just quickly, because this wasn't on our watch list, but had a bit of a move just now. Worth noting that NVCT, that was the recent IPO that went gangbusters yesterday. It put in just a volume spike here through 7:30, and then reversed right at 8:60. So again, just kind of like Peloton just did, right at an afternoon lower high here at 8:60. It tried to wick through to $9 and then has failed once. Got to be patient with this. It halted only twice, although it could have easily halted a couple more times just by splitting a couple of hairs there, not halting 3 or 4 times. Put a big rejection in at $10. As you can see, like, there were many tests of 10 that got failed. So that's the level I really like. 860 is fine for like an in and out at 9:30, maybe a rollover style trade at the open. But $10 is the real big level here. You can see how hard it pulled back off of this level multiple times. It gave you trades, although it did have one big failed break.
There with Peloton, guys. It's supposed to be aftermarket tonight, but yeah, looks like it's out as far as earnings are concerned. If anyone is looking for it, 139 versus 121 loss, so wider loss than expected. They reported revenue of 1.34 billion versus 1.37 expected. So yeah, missed on both, as the guys were saying their call. Happening right now. Started at 8:30 there for PTON. Let's continue along. Still watching this Norwegian, trying to hold 2250 right now. Let's talk about Meta. Lots of kind of minor headlines really for Facebook here. Peter Thiel announcing I guess the company announced after market yesterday, Peter Thiel will leave the board of directors to pursue some political interests, people are saying, or Wall Street Journal, I should say, is saying, going into the midterms in the U.S. In November, guys. So is that even a big deal at this point?
No, because the wider concerns, maybe it's a small, but the wider concerns are bigger. Like the momentum that the stock has had on is far more important. But and we said this before, and we talked about, we referenced Netflix that after they got crushed on earnings, it had to settle down and hold low and allow it to try to do that. Well, it tried yesterday at 230. That was a defensible, possible double bottom where it had some consolidation, and then you've broken back down. Now you're looking at 220. When I went to the daily chart, I spotted 15 and 200 as obvious levels that stuck out. 200 is the most obvious for whatever, it's a round number. It gets to that price, there's going to be a bid there, and there's going to be traders en masse jumping in front of it. But this needs to hold it needs to hold as a double bottom, a higher low, something that gives a little bit of strength before you can run away from the fact that this is a momentum to the short side. And yesterday was the first, 2 days in a row after the earnings, I only went short on the stock, and yesterday tried to go long, was doing well, and then did not reverse at 230. I think that 230 level is your immediate first resistance point. If it gets any kind of push to the upside, so you had that bottom after earnings, you had the consolidation break. If it gets to 230, I think it could check up there just a little bit. But I'm trying to, yesterday being patient waiting for 230 ended up working. I just went to the well probably one too many times. I want to do the same thing again today. 230 is a good level, I think, to maybe short in front of, and then go for a 215 down defense and then 200, but nothing in the middle. I don't want to be trading Facebook too much.
Look, Trey here asking me, how's the wife right here with the $5? Yeah, I'll tell you how the wife is. Look at this. So this is what we made. This is what she made yesterday. So here it is. Reese's Pieces plus Pillsbury, right? Plus flour, right? Put it in the air fryer. You guys, we talked about air fryer the other day. I think this was Trader Brad. You put it in the air fryer. It turns out to this. You sprinkle some nice sugar on it. And then, boom, here it is. You get these little Reese's peanut butter cup things baked. So yeah, family is good. Thank you, Trey, for that one. And wow, yeah, now you've got me all focused on those tasty pastries.
I'm hungry already.
Right there, yeah. So that's
You don't get to eat till lunch, man. That's not right.
I know. Well, we do have. There is some.
I can't get that now.
There's some. Yeah, you can. Sure, you can.
Well, I could.
There's some fruits and pastries, I think, here, but definitely not like that. But anyways, yeah. Look, we've talked about Facebook a little bit already, and I don't know. I said that if you're joining us for the first time here, I've already talked about this 224 level. I like it. I'm gonna go long through 224 and see if it works. Maybe the bottom's in right here at 220. I mean, the 220 sticks out, so we can just continue to watch that. There still is 20 minutes to go, so anything could happen in that 20 minutes. I like a 224 break, but at the same time, that is a good level to short as well. So I just kind of want to see the momentum going through here. I will push the long through there, and then I'm only going to give it like $2 down to like 222, kind of where we're resisting right now, so or supporting right now. So let's see what happens, but that 222 is sticking out right now as a level of support. Obviously, the 220 is about as clean as it could be. It did break, but only went to 1950. I don't care about that. That has nothing to do with anything. If it breaks 220, it will test at least 1950. There's no volume. When the volume kicks in, man, you're going to see not hundreds of shares. You're going to see hundreds of thousands of shares per minute. So I think that can hold out. So I'm going to go long 224. I want to see these imbalances come through, and then we'll just move on from there.
I was just looking at Pfizer here. Looks like CNBC reporting, guys, that yeah, it's going to be next year. The ARM deal, NVIDIA, we have NVIDIA on the list this morning. The ARM deal, ARM now looking at an IPO apparently over in Hong Kong or Shanghai. They haven't actually said, but we'll get to NVIDIA. Let's continue along here. Talk a little bit about Pfizer. Earnings out this morning. Pfizer with a bit of a miss on the forecast for next this full year and then first quarter next year as well. But they did update their COVID forecast or COVID vaccine forecast for this year to the upside, which was a bit of a positive, it would seem.
Yeah, I mean, sure it was, but you're at the stage now where you're pulling back in. All the exuberance from the vaccine names has come back. You broke that 50 period. We talked about this, sort of on the way up, that when these types of names start to go a little bit more parabolic, that you've got to be able to grit your teeth and take some profit, even if usually they occupy like a more conservative area of portfolios, which Pfizer at one point was. I think I said this last night. It's like the same. The energy feels like the same way. Like if you have some of those names in your portfolio that are just your dividend plays, they're starting to go so strong to the upside that it's almost criminal not to take some profit. So you grit your teeth and do some selling. Now today, we're right back. Look, you consolidated lower than the 50 period moving average off this 55, 56, which I know we talked about last week. And then on the earnings, you get a breakdown right at this key former high at 52. So it's not, I don't know that it's rocket science to say that I want to short this into 52, 52 and a quarter. So any kind of a pop, that's where I'm going to be sitting on the offer. I said it's a similar thing to, I guess, Snapchat that I mentioned. I wanted to fade on any strength, but I don't want to be chasing this. 50 is a pretty solid level, and if I'm right here in the middle, then I'm $1 away from support, $1 away from resistance. That doesn't make any sense. So it either comes back up, lets me short off that 52 to 52 quarter area, or we're just waiting for 50 to hit at the bottom. And that's the change I want to make, not forcing my way into an earnings play. I don't know if we're gonna get to this one just yet, but I wanted to point out SOPA's I think SOPA made our watch list. There was actually, I think Concrete, I know they got added to the Russell late last year on a spike, but this already put in a failure this morning at $5. It then put a failure just jumping up now to $4.80. So you've had a couple of spikes and then hard reversals in the pre-market. So this is definitely on the pop and fade play radar for me off either one of those. I was like, almost doesn't matter. Like at 9:30, if it fails in front of 480, then I'd short it there. If it fails in front of 5, I'd short it there. But SOPA definitely falls into that category.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with Facebook. It wasn't that bad. I mean, they got lower earnings than expected. I've never been a buyer, of Pfizer. Sorry, did I say Facebook? Of Pfizer there. So I've never been a buyer of this name and really haven't recommended it at all. It's only a 3% dividend, which is fine. It's good, but you're already down 5% today. So it's kind of like, we can't just say we're going to hold a dividend stock because it pays a dividend. I mean, that's fine, but you got to hold the right names. Pfizer right now, it's going to have a problem. I am going to test the long ahead of 50, but if it breaks 50, then we're gone on this one. I think people are going to be disappointed here. We're below the 50 period. I think there's a lot of expectations here for this report. COVID is becoming, I'm hoping anyways, a thing of the past as far as having to get like booster after booster and all this kind of stuff. I know the third world some countries in the third world still looking for even their first shot, which, I mean, I hope we could solve all of these problems. And I know that Pfizer is going to be behind a lot of this. At some point, though, like I was just saying, the first world's already made their play. Pfizer's already got that money. So I feel like this is setting up for disappointment again today. So just watch out for Pfizer. That 4% really sucks. There's no doubt about that. It was just at like 54, 55. So that's going to hurt from yesterday. And it kind of reminds me of Ford, where you have a nice level and then break, and then you make that move to the downside. So for me, I'll test it at 50 because 50 needs to, I need to go long. We'll take a couple shares there ahead of 50, test it, breaks, we're gone on that one. And then now that I mentioned Ford, here's the same look, and I feel like they're very similar. So here's Pfizer again into this area 50, basically between 54 and 51 right here. And if you look back at Ford, it was this 19 level that we kept talking about. Once 19 was broken, we have 3 red days down, and it looks like we don't even want to head back to the north side for Ford. So this is going to be a very, actually I'm canceling my bid. Ford, I was ahead of there on the sticky note, ahead of 1750, but this is also coming back in right now, so yikes. I just feel like, again, man, you don't want to hold Pfizer for that dividend. 3% to me is not enough. So, but yeah, just watch out below. We've already broken that level. I'm going to test it at 50, but I like Ford better today. We'll have to watch Pfizer, but I do like Ford at 1750 better than Pfizer at 50 because things always break kind of the first time. So just be careful on that 50 level. We've resisted it right here down to 49.80 or so. So maybe that's going to be your stop, 49.80.
A big move already for Pfizer. Was just looking at Netflix, no move, but The Power of the Dog leading Oscar nominations, guys, with 12. So that's a Netflix movie. I actually haven't seen it, but apparently it led the Oscar nominations this morning. Anyways, DWAC, let's go to Digital World Acquisition Corporation. Huge sell-off late in the day yesterday. Former President Trump on Fox Business this morning did mention True Social, but no details, just said he's working with great partners was the quote. but didn't give any details as far as the launch date or potential launch date. So DWAC kind of chopping around here where we were late in the day yesterday.
Yeah, look, obviously, the update, the whole what went around online was the whole they're delaying the launch, which was not new news. It just kind of, for whatever reason, made the rounds and got out there online, and then you had the flush, which was pretty ridiculous and pretty crazy to say the least. We were live watching it. It was just the bottom fell out. And this is one thing that you have to consider in these names. If I was talking about this with Brennan, like one of the reasons why when these things, some of these names get too high or go up the way that they do, it's simply hard to want to chase along. And you start thinking that the trade is going to be to the short side because the bid is more likely to drop as opposed to it's necessarily squeezing further unless it gets to a key level. And that's what you kind of saw play out with DWAC. You're right back, and you go right back to an area of acceptance, which usually happens in a liquidity vacuum down. Usually you'll find a base at an area of price acceptance. You can see between 80 and this 85 to 87 area. That's exactly where that's been. I look at the wick highs here at 85, and I think I've talked about, I think last week we were talking about the 85 to 87 price area as a potential fade. The breakout that happened yesterday was off of that same top end of the range, that 87, although it never gave you the 85 entry, yesterday's action. So I just go back to the drawing board. Last time we were in this price range, it was fade 85 to 87 as a price area. If it gets through that, you don't get married to the idea. If it breaks 87, you're out of the trade. You can't sit there just averaging into anything like that. But, we're right back to where we were before. So I go back to the old playbook. The 80 support is very choppy. It's not clean. So I think that's a little bit of a different story. You probably have to give that to 79 before you know you're absolutely wrong. And if that were to break, you can kind of see 74 down here. But, if I trade DWAC today, yesterday I was looking to catch a bid. Today I'm looking to fade in front of 87.
Hey, what's up, Joanna Hayes? I think she hit it the nail right on the head here, I think. And that is like, hate him or like him. I guess we're talking about Trump here at this point. We can't wait to see his new media page. And I really feel like, obviously politics is going to be polarizing and we don't want to talk about that on the show, but we have to when we're talking about DWAC. And I really think that is a good point. And I think that no matter how successful the launch is going to be, it's going to come with haters on one side, people are going to like it. That's how it gets revenues, right? Is by people visiting the site. So, I don't know if it's going to be well supported, well funded. We don't know anything about the truth. We don't know anything about this social media page, what's going to be all about. We know that Rumble is going to be involved with it. We talked about Funware as well. And I just think it's an interesting topic, and it's an interesting stock, DWAC. So let's just wait to see what happens. I'm excited to sort of see the fanfare behind it. And I think as an investor in what was a $10 SPAC, you're now 8 times on that investment. And I remember when DWAC first was announced that this was going to be part of the truth, how crazy it went. It went up to, this was 180. Like, you could have just had this. Even if you bought it, it was halting. It's come back down to 40, but it's kind of holding up all right. So I don't know. Will it suffer? And this is what I mean by it's going to be interesting. Will it suffer the same fate as some of the other social media? Twitter is below its IPO price of like 15 years ago. So we'll wait to see. I don't know if it's going to be a good investment or not. But as I said with Joanna there, I think it's just going to be interesting to see the release, see the rollout, see what Fox says, see what CNN says, and it's just going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun to see where this goes. Could be a dangerous website, and I'm sure if there is, any questionable content, that will even create more controversy. So, I don't know. I just think, hey, as the stock market moves, we're here to trade it, and I think that's what made AMC interesting, was there was people against the move and people for the move, and it just made it a super interesting name to trade. So DWAC has to be on everybody's trading radar, whether or not you're for or against the principles there. It's a great trading venue, and yesterday we just saw it move, from $96 down to $81 in about 10 minutes at the close. So it's definitely a trading vehicle and one that we have to be on.
And fun, too, which Randy's having.
Randy always has fun. Remember CFVI, guys, there's a tie-in as well for Rumble, in addition to the Rogan news we were talking about yesterday as well. So we'll keep CFVI on the back burner. Want to make sure we get to Velodyne. NVIDIA, though, they made it official overnight. ARM and NVIDIA not going to happen. CNBC, as I said, just reporting that SoftBank is already working on an IPO, potential IPO for spinning off ARM. So NVIDIA is not really doing anything. I want to mention this VLDR, though, because as Sean was talking about there, we had VLDR on the watch list after this. They issued a whole bunch of warrants to Amazon. That was announced right at the close last night. Goes all the way up to 750. Already leaking here, though, back to $5, which is, kind of in this range.
Yeah, look, it's 14, those warrants. At the end of the day, it actually immediately showed weakness, gapping back to the downside. So overnight, anyone that was buying at that 7 kind of got burned there. I forget the name of the clause, but in addition to the warrants, it's like one of those, it's like restrictive of making it possible for Amazon to put some kind of
like a poison pill?
It's not called a poison, but it's a different word, but it makes it difficult for them to actually make an acquisition.
Golden shoot.
It's a different, anyways, I'll have to look it up, but either way, this is not necessarily going to lead to Amazon taking over the company or anything like that. That's actually something that they're guarding against. I like the fade on this name. I'm sitting on the offer in front of about 540 here, which seemed more reasonable at the time that I put it in. Now you're actually getting away from that price and possibly breaking 5 even. I might come down to 5.25. Where it did have a bit of a pivot back and forth, just because we have 5 minutes to the open, and I do want to be fading off the high of the day here in VLDR. There's a lot to be watching here. As far as NVIDIA goes, there's just no surprises that deal is not necessarily. We just got a breakdown of the low of the day. So this is
what stock?
No, Velodyne just broke that low.
Velodyne.
So I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, I was also going to take a scalp break, which I put in the chat. But this, to me, I'm not giving it a ton of room. I can only give it to about 510 because I want to be revisiting it at 525 or 525 in front of that 550 level. And as far as NVIDIA goes, I say absolutely no shock that the deal isn't done. A lot of people were expecting it wasn't. The only thing worth keeping in mind is, for whatever reason, ARM is booking the profit of the breakup fee now, and NVIDIA is not going to book that $1.3 billion until 2023. So next year, mentally add $1.3 billion to NVIDIA's Q3 results because they're putting that money aside right now. So anyways, that's just some accounting nonsense.
We're gonna get ready to go to Brendan, and just so people know, I don't own one share or option in DWAC or anything. I'm just talking about it as a stock, so had nothing to do with politics there. $300 is a level for Softy, so we're gonna look at that again here for Microsoft. If it breaks there, again, it's on the sticky note. We talked about defend 300, and then worst case scenario, which I don't know. The future's starting to point up, and we'll go over the imbalances quickly before I throw it over to Brendan here, just as they're gonna come out very soon at 928. Well, actually, the NASDAQ, we should just review in a second. But here's that 298 right here. That was made, I guess it was a pre-market, or I don't know. I guess that was a pre-market bottom. 298 there. So we'll have to watch out for that level to come through if we take a 300 long. Just quickly, I just teased it, so let's show it quickly here. Here is the imbalance locator coming through. There's absolutely nothing on here. The NASDAQ names are already out. I just didn't see anything half decent on there. You can see Cavill, I know that was a name that people traded yesterday. That's 135,000 shares. XPOA, we can look at that. I'm not sure what's going on there. Pfizer with the big sell, we talked about that. I feel like this breaks that $49. I feel like it, or $50, sorry. I feel like that happens. GM on the sell as well. On the downgrade, sucky, man. Simon Property Group, we didn't even talk about that. Shout out to Daryl. I think they're down a little bit today. Yeah, down 5%. So we can look at that report off a top there. Wow. Awful that for them to be down here. But that's what's going on with the imbalances. We're going to be looking at all the names, man. Peloton, Facebook, Pfizer, DWAC, Ford, and Microsoft are all on my list. I know it doesn't sound like I narrowed it down, but it's not bad. 5 or 6 names. Over to Brendan, and let's see what he's looking at.
VLDR, give you my take real quick. This double top over here on the daily chart is 550. So that's really all I'm going to look at, 550. Above that, if it starts to hold above 550, you probably get a test of much higher. But not much of a bid on this so far, guys, on the way back down for VLDR. We were trading around 350 yesterday.
Yeah, and looks like I was talking about Square 100. That might have to wait because Square bouncing to 102.5. It looked like it was about to test that 100 level right away. Snapchat making a bit of a move down, so I guess we're not going to get that fade imminently here. What just happened?
No, I was going to say, by the way, guess what's testing its very lows right now?
Facebook?
Yeah, exactly. So
I cheated. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say because like I was just like first of all that's the daily chart, but look at here at a minute chart. I was just gonna look at it and say, oh, maybe I'll put in that 224 break because we're getting close to the open, and I looked over to it and I was like, huh? Looks like we're gonna take out that 220 short. I want to hit this short. I cannot believe that we're doing this at 220 here. So we'll take a short, but I'm not super confident with it, to be honest with you. I want to get out at 222 if it does break back to the upside. So that's going to be my Facebook trade. I can't ignore it. I mean, yesterday Greg was like, hey, I smashed that 230 level short, and then now today you're looking at 220. I feel like it's silly not to at least try it if it goes down, and then it's $2 worth of risk on not very many shares because I'm not, like I said, I'm not getting involved early on these names. I'd rather just like settle down, try to put on a big position, and make the right trade. So watch out for 220 breaking, and then if we get into that, it's 222 on the high side if it breaks back. So that's what we're doing. We're looking at Pfizer 50. We're looking at a bunch of different things. Quick look at the imbalance. Ford as a sell. We pulled away from that. The GM is killing this name, so we are not protecting that 1750. We'll look at that a little bit later.
Yeah, Tim on the bell here. We have 20 seconds to the open. Watching Snap also on the move here. And Velodyne starting to already fall at the open. So a breakdown trade might work. We did like it higher, but we had to take the break when it presented itself. 6, 5, 4. Drop the bell so we doesn't have to jump. 3, 2, and 1. Ring it.
All right, Man Bun is in the building. What's up to Tim? I gotta bust you. Okay, so I'm glad we have a great crew here.
What's wrong with the bun? I don't know.
Absolutely nothing. I'm jealous as hell about the Man Bun. I would love to have a man bun, bro.
Oh, you can't.
I mean, are you kidding me? Okay, so I mean that's if you. Anyways, okay, let's just go. This is what hi, my name is Sean. This is what I do. Okay, so Facebook right now, nothing. It touches 220, and here we go. All right. Let's go. 220 breaking right now, so let's see what happens with the downside. Looks like it's a little bit of a resisting, but we're going to get out at 222 if it breaks higher. That's it. Small try here. Let's give this a go.
Yeah, and immediately Velodyne just starts dropping. 75s we got out, 65s we just got some shares out. So the breakdown happening here in Vail DR. Snapchat, that's the other one that, I mean, whatever, man. It doesn't give you the pop.
It just
falls. It just goes down to 35. So $1 drop instantly here on Velodyne. And Peloton right at that $30 range. So it's settling. It's just basically holding right at 30. So you have the top end. 30's bounced a couple of times here. No need to rush into this one.
No, and yeah, we're about to rush out of Facebook right now. As again, we tried it. It's out $1.50. We could easily afford this one. That's not a big trade. We talked about that. We tried the 220. I sort of smelt out that might have been a little sour. I feel like we're so low on this name, and that's why we were a little bit weary of pushing the button there. But it seems like it's working out fine. But for right now, we don't know where we're going to go. But there it goes. We're just going to. There it is. Loss of $2 on that one. So very comfortable with that hit. But now we're looking at that 224, and we're just going to leave this alone and see what happens here, guys.
So I mean, I was on the bit of hog just to see if I could get it. Hog breaks all the way to 40, turns at that 40, that key level on the daily chart there. And just going back to Peloton, it's going back and forth. It's Snapchat that's just insane, man. Snapchat off 35. Now that it's broken down this level, that 37 to 38 range, I go to the top end of that. That's 37. So that's the resistance I'll play in front of. So I have to wait until at least 36.5 to get into some Snapchat. And Pfizer, I wanted this bad boy to give a pop that we could fade into. It just goes right towards that 50 level. So not too much happening in Pfizer. Slight move down to the key level at 50. GM not moving a ton just yet as well, as it's still in its pre-market range, but it's very, very close to that 47 level on the 15. That's the only, on the daily chart, that's the only level I'd put any defense at.
Yeah, we're in Pfizer right here at 26. It does go down to 50. 10 or so against us, and then it rips up to 40s. Okay, there you go. I was going to say, we are sitting here trying to get out if it does start to rip upside, and here goes Pfizer right now with a nice move to the upside. So already made back the money that we lost there on old Facebook there. I don't even know why we traded that as silly as we did, but there it goes, right back up to the upside, putting us back, yes sir, putting us back into the positive, and there goes Microsoft, or sorry, back comes Microsoft, back down to 302. It took off crazy. So if the market wants wants to go. I already saw Microsoft go, so we're taking it here at this 302 level. We are going to put a better position on if we come back into 300 right now. But there goes Pfizer. Let's go, man. We talked about this name and why we, wanted to defend that 50 area. We did think that there was a chance that this thing pushes lower, but Pfizer right there, mamma mia, that's a good trade on that long. I was gonna put a hell of a lot more shares down there, and I obviously should have, but Pfizer so far so good here on that trade. Microsoft and Peloton just bouncing around.
Yeah, this looks pretty spicy, this Facebook here. You get a wick bottom like that, and by the way, NVCT just halted. Looks like a downside halt on NVCT, so probably 5 or 10 minutes. Facebook, you get a wick bottom like this, it could be potential breakout. So when I see that, I look at that level that was supported at 220, and if it comes and bounces off 220, I think you've got yourself along off the same level after you see that wick bottom. 230, of course, is still going to remain resistance. We talked about DWAC fading. It's right into that 80 level. If you're choosing to defend it, it's a bit of a wide range each time it's broken. I'm going to cancel my offer up at 86 because if it goes to that price, it's come too far too fast. VLDR is starting to level off a little bit, off of $44.50. So the first 10% on a 5 break has found support. If it goes sideways and breaks down, then I want to make sure I'm holding for more profit down towards that warrant price of 418, where I think that'd be the ultimate target. If it pops back up, I'd just get back in front of 5 even.
Man, I couldn't be happier right now. We absolutely murdered this one. So that was a good idea, finally, for us here on Pfizer. As I'm just getting out on the way up here. We'll wait at 17s, we'll wait at 25s. Absolutely, finally, anyways, a good trade there with PFE. So we're going to go 1 for 1 on that name. And really, Pfizer, Facebook, Pfizer, Peloton, like all these names. This was fine. It was a hit for sure. Not a big hit though, which is exactly as we planned it. We were very, very nervous about that break there, but we did take the $2 hit. So as scheduled, and again, when you're putting on risk, like obviously I'm up a lot more than I was yesterday because yesterday was a shoot show for me, but here we go. Let's go Pfizer. Boom. Biggest stock right now for me today, Pfizer. Just continues to make a move to the upside, so that's going to be a good trade here. Yeah, let's just look forward, see what's going to happen with Facebook. I'm still looking at that 224 level. Very, very interested in that as a break. And then I'd like to average into Microsoft, but again, it hasn't come down to where I want it to, and I got to be patient, right? So about $300.50 or so for Microsoft. If we get that pull down here, then we will take that. But again, really just looking at Peloton now, 80 cents in the money for Peloton. So that's going to be a good trade for us. And there goes Facebook. Let's see if we can let this thing fly a little bit.
Brendo?
Just checking out Robinhood, guys. There was a big spike to the downside right out of the gate, but bounced off 13 there. So a huge volume came in on the buy side. Down 3% though for Hood.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Peloton there, so about 20 cents away from first offer on Snapchat as we're letting it test that high. But don't forget Peloton, that afternoon top that it faded once at 31.30. Now it's retesting that level, so you let it come to you. If it tries to put any kind of a curl off of this price range here, I'm going to try the first trade in Peloton. The stop is right at that 31.30 level, so pretty clear where I know I'm going to be wrong. It's tested it a couple of times this morning, so risk to reward, I kind of like it. It was either that or settling below that 30 range, but finally into some Peloton. I haven't reloaded in Velodyne. It was just popping Velodyne. I thought I'd get a reload, but no, it's back down in the 460 range. First target on Peloton is going to be 30, 50s, and then down to 30 even. We know those are pretty key levels there. And man, DWAC, it's just whatever, man.
Is it 86 yet?
It's at 78.
Oh.
DWAC is at 78. Like the bid on this stock, when it starts going, it just evaporates. Like that's the problem with some of these names, right? It's when the selling starts, there's just nobody on the bid. You get these liquidity vacuums. I talked about how that 80 level was a bit skittish because there was all these breaks of 80, and then real support is kind of nowhere to be found here till you get to the mid 70s. I just thought there'd be a pop that I'd be able to fade.
Okay. Yeah, we're so much more calm today, and here goes Microsoft. Hopefully, darn it, I saw the future starting to rip, and I thought we could maybe get this 302.80 again here on Softy and ring that register. But right now, Peloton, so far so good here on that 30 break. Now up to 31.20. Now $1.15 in the money for Peloton. Nicely done on Pfizer, obviously, as that's moving around. All we have to do now is wait for Facebook, which we got in and a little bit out there as it didn't break right away, so we got out for flat. Let's just try to hold this and see where we go now. First target out is 224.50. We'll see if that goes. But right now it's really struggling at that key level of 224. So we did lighten up a little bit on this trade, guys. What's up, Brendo?
Take two. TTWO just popping up on volume here, back to that resistance from yesterday. So big buyers so far up half now, went red to green there for take two.
Yeah, big moves for that one. Now we're going to do this one, although we followed our rules here, at least in Peloton. In and out, pretty much right at that same price, no average, just got out for the 25-cent hit. And now I'm not going to touch it at this level. It either breaks back out and gives you a shot at 34, or it has to reclaim, get downward to that 30 level, or we're going to sit it out. Facebook continues to run here, guys. It's up at 224. But 225, 230, those are the levels I think they're going to matter a heck of a lot more. And I'm going to keep tracking some DWAC. It's just, right now, it's so far away from either end of an interesting range that we don't want to just jam into it. However, we had a 48 break here on General Motors, so that's getting close. It got down to 47.80, 47 the big level on the daily chart. Could start to fill in that gap at 47. Pretty decent support there. I'm going to get my bids out. And didn't want to be sitting on the bid until it broke 48, but now looks like the momentum is heading to the downside. A little bit faster over here on General Motors, and I mentioned that NVCT went into that halt. It looks like it is back open, but that was a downward halt, guys. So I forgot to mention that. I think it's downward halt. If it retests up to $8, which was the previous floor, I think that's sort of an obvious short if it has any kind of a pop. But this is that IPO that halted twice on the way up yesterday.
All right, there we go. A good trade so far. We'll do some backflips here. Microsoft, we get it out at 70 there. So a nice little 50-cent win there for Softy. We'll see if it continues to go. We did lighten up on Facebook again. It didn't break. Like, we take the break and we just get out for flat, and then we get out again. The highest this ever went up was 224.20. So, yeah, we're just going to wait for this now. We don't have enough shares that this is going to matter on this move down, but it looks like it doesn't want to take that 224. That's obvious. So now we have to wait, because if I'm going to wait it out for like 50 cents, $1 against me, we got to make more than that, right? So I'm going to wait for a 225 break before we get anything out on this one. Pfizer still working, 70 cents in the money. We have the bottom of the day here on Pfizer, so that's going to be a good trade. And then our Peloton continues to be Gronk spiked finally today on the downside. Let's see if we can make some money off that play as well. What's up, Brendo?
Banks are strong so far. JP Morgan leading the way here, 2.3% on decent volume. It's worth mentioning there was a huge dark pool print there in the pre-market. Ignore that. 157 up here coming into play right now for JPM.
A good look on JP. 450 about to go on Veldon. Once it breaks that level, that's my next out. Square. Yeah, 100, forget about it. 101, it's already bounced to 103.60. So that's running with the market. NASDAQ starting to go. Snapchat finally had some kind of a curl here in front of that 36.5 area. We took the first push down after that curl. I really only want to give it back up to this, where is it? Cancel that order. I really don't want to give it back to that pre-market high, which means one add in the 36.50 area, and then checking back in on DWAC. It's starting to climb. If I wanted to fade it before, I don't mind fading it now. It's just you have to look at pre-market lows. It's a wide chop zone. That 80 level, like we said, is weak support. So I want to be short well away from it if I can. 81.50, 82, somewhere in there has to be the price target. The spread, by the way, anywhere from 20 to 50 cents. So you don't want to chase things too far. You got to let this one come to you.
Yeah, we'll try DWAC on an 82 or so long, but yeah, it's going to be one of those trades. So, all right, we are out of, well, we were getting out of some Pfizer there, but then it just dropped down again. So watch out for your trade there on Pfizer. I've already talked about Facebook bouncing around. I don't really have a target here for Peloton. Obviously, we should probably get out because it's $1.50 in the money now, Peloton. And the way we traded this yesterday was too many crazy trades. I wish it would have settled down a little bit here. But again, I missed that 30 level. I didn't even realize that reload was coming in there at 9:30 before it just ripped upside. So Peloton right there, kind of an easy reload for me at 30 because we liked 30, but we missed that level. So now we kind of got to deal with it up here, and we're well off. So let's just see if this one continues to make a move to the upside. Really the disappointing stock for me, well, we only have one losing stock, so it's easy for me to say this, but Facebook today, that was at, and then we got out there, and then it hasn't gone through this 224, so we lightened up on that one, and we're waiting now for much higher on Facebook, because again, it's dancing around here, clearly has no idea what it wants to do. Look at the market coming back in. Look at Microsoft. So we already take that 50 cents, and now it's against us that 50 cents. So back and forth, we are looking to reload this thing, but we're going to wait for much, much lower down here near $300.50, guys, for Microsoft on a reload, down a lot lower than this.
Yeah, it's not a reload. It's the first time I actually got into SOPA here. We thought this would be a pop and fade off any of these levels from the pre-market. It never got to either, but it just put an opening range double top at 455. So first consolidation down. I'm going to get into the short. It'll be tight stop to 55. It'll be likely a retry at 480 and then $5 from there. Snapchat on that curl just retook. Whoops, Snapchat's in the New York. Just retook that 36 level, so starting to work its way down. I do want to take some profit out in front of the low of the day, so about 35.5, and then trying to work this all the way to the lows. And then, as I said, there's a bit of a buyer on Velodyne VLDR here, just at that 450 level. It did break this support here, but got down to 450, tested a couple of times, but looks like it's going to fade at some point. So next profit will be below that 450. Brendan.
I mentioned that update from NCLH in the pre-market. So cruise lines rallying. So are the airlines again, guys, after the little bit of M&A in the space yesterday. LOVE just taking out day highs. There's UAL and AAL also pretty positive so far.
All right, Pfizer. If you just want to give me 51s, we'll take it. 50. Ooh, I was at 51.01 there, trying to get that extra little penny there. Looks like it's bouncing nicely off that. And there, finally, here goes our friend, not foe today, but we'll wait to see. Still position pending on this one, as there goes Pfizer upside. Come on, Facebook, man. You're now 70 cents in the money. We'll see if we can turn our frown upside down on this name, as we're at the highest spot we've been at all day here. Looks like Pfizer just did take that out. So now there it is. There's our fill there at 01s. That was just a little silly. I just didn't want to take O's, so I was like, I'll take 01s. So there's 01s out right there. Still higher. I'm still waiting to see if Pfizer wants to push up to the upside. We're still down that 5%. We have the bottom of the day on this one. So this is by far my best trade, including yesterday on this. We pick up a good level with decent amount of shares. So I'm pretty happy with that trade. But I'm even more happy with this one, because finally the Diamond Handman is back a little bit here with a $2 plus winner now. We have 70 cents on Facebook, $2 here on Peloton, and that's it, right? And 50 cents on Pfizer right now. Look at the Pfizer just fell back in. So just a quick math, we have like 6% of this position left. So we'll see what happens with Pfizer. I still have higher hopes for this one. Maybe we should just get out of our Facebook whenever I see a winner. That just stopped at 225 flat there. So we'll put an offer there, see if we can make $1 on this part and hold the rest. Give it to them, Brendan.
LIDR is the one with the news, obviously, but some of the sympathy plays also rallying here. Here's Microvision, MVIS straight to the upside. That UCL on the watch list, also a sympathy play, showing some strength, but 8% for MVIS is.
Yeah, you don't want to tear that UCL, bad baseball pun, intended. Look, I think that we actually meant to talk about that name because I thought it was going to be a pretty decent fade play, but there were just too many names that I was also looking at for that pop and fade idea. I just got into DWAC in front of that 82, got 81s to the short side. Snapchat just rolled over again, but I don't know, there's somebody just keeps buying it at 35.75 over and over again. They just broke it now. Okay, there we go. I was about to say, if they didn't break that level in the next couple of seconds, I was likely to just quickly take the profit wherever I could, but that level did break, so I'm going to get, hopefully, oh, it just missed me. Let's see if we can't pick it up there. Sometimes instead of bounces off your order, just come up like an extra 10 cents because I don't want to miss out on that profit. I did want to get some of this Snapchat out halfway. So that will be a good one when we add that to Velodyne, but DWAC just made its first move to 82.
Oh, did it? Oh, yeah, I'm in. What the hell?
Just made it, yeah. Oh, yeah, I kind of figured, yeah. It made its first move to 82, so I took the first short. We'll take it out at 82. Do not want to sit there averaging in. The next level up is 85 to 87, so it was either going to hold below that pre-market area, that cluster here, or we're just going to walk away from it and then reevaluate the next move. SOPA, by the way, we said we'd have, come on, load. We said we'd have a nice little tight stop here. It just broke out and is now halting to the upside at 512. So there you go. This is what I just want to talk about. If you're going counter trend, if you don't know where you're wrong in a trade, then don't make a trade. Because right here, it was clear if we roll back over, we're likely headed to the low. If we break the top, we could be breaking out on that name. Now halted to the upside. That's SOPA. Brendo?
Relatively small float on that. I think it's around 10 million. BABA, guys, we mentioned briefly yesterday, back to the upside here today, 6%. So a nice rally so far, just took out day highs.
Ooh,
It's weird. Like, that was such a great short yesterday, and now today it's like this strong on Alibaba. I actually didn't look at BABA this morning, just given the price range that it was sitting in, but it probably should have been missing some trades there. 116.50, 117 break, if you're bullish on it, kind of stands out. But it's right into some serious chop. I think you got to look to 123 to 125, somewhere in that range, as a bit of a go zone. Either way, SOPA is going to be on the radar. I had paid for those shorts. That NCTY, that looks like, sorry, NVCT, I mean.
Facebook.
Yeah, it looks like that one might be done for the day. I thought there'd be another pop in it. It is just at the low of the day at 650. If it has a shot to get back to $8, that's an obvious fade, but that one's running out of steam fast.
Uh-oh, it's Facebook time. So there it is, man. Yes, sir. Facebook today, a much different story than yesteryear, as it's a nice move upside. So I guess I will not be swimming with too many fish here tonight, but a nice move upside for Facebook. Finally, take that. We waited for it. And there it is, $1.60 there on that. So we just took, actually, no, $1. Yeah, I don't know. Where did we get it? Hold on a second. We got 40, so 225.40. So $1.40 to the upside right there for Facebook. Held on purpose. The thing is, we got into Microsoft, and we really should not have gotten in there. I don't think it took out what we wanted to. We got a couple wicks up here that put us into this trade. So we got out almost instantly there, especially on a 301 break. So again, we are waiting down here. So we should be able to get longer right now on Microsoft. Coming back in, we are looking at this 300 level, and then even lower than 300 is 298. So we talked about that 298 level that came through just a little while ago, right here on the so there we go. We just took some more shares. So we're starting to dig in now. As Peloton, holy shoot, Neil, $33. Let's go for Peloton right now. Like out of nowhere goes Peloton. Oh man, where's my minute chart? Here it is right here. Wow, okay, up to $33 for Peloton right now. So yeah, the dream is alive on this name. For anybody that bought some of those dips, you're right back out, starting to take out some of these levels. Maybe next shot 34, but we're long into Peloton and have no reason to get out of this name. So let's go Peloton. $3 in the money on this one, and then 20 cents in the money on DWAC. Although we're long at 82.28, how far did this just go up there? It went to 83.50. Oh, we could have taken $1.50 there on DWAC. Let's put I don't even have an order out, so let's get an order out for this one. What's up, Brandon?
Aluminum hitting a 13-year high, so some resource stocks, guys, having quite the day here. Here's Alcoa, 7.5%. This is all-time highs right now for AA.
What's wrong with that aluminum? As I'm told, it should be said there. Peloton did want to wait out for that 34 level. It broke 33, and the momentum felt like it was about to carry it to 34. That's why, like on the 15-minute chart, you are going to see it's a bit of a wick high. Why did that not? It's a bit of a wick high up through 34, and maybe that 33 quarter where that body is should have been a bit of a turn. But we're going to stay disciplined, wait for our level. We just got another breakdown in Snap, but at this point, I want to hold on to this trade down towards that 35. And we talked about 35 earlier this morning is that higher low level, and then 34 where I think there should be a bit of a bid. So going to hang on to Snap, looking for about $1 on this name. SOPA should be open up in 1 minute. It's indicating a flat open on SOPA. Sometimes that can be a little bit bearish, by the way. So when these open up flat after a parabolic move like this, a lot of times there can be some selling, and you also have some, resistance at 535 here on the 15-minute chart as well. So an inability to get through that price could signal almost an instant short, but make sure you got to stop. Like the stop needs to be placed if I'm taking that trade right above that 535.
All right, yeah, well, we're just cooking with fire here, man. Peloton just continues to make a move to the upside and just taking out new highs right here as Peloton go, go, go. Remember, guys, CEO stepping down, getting rid of 2,800 jobs that they don't need. And now it's going to the upside. A nice little move here for Peloton. Just obviously wish we had more shares. This was a pre-market level. The only problem was the reload should have been had down there at $30. Embarrassed not to have that reload, but that's okay. It's much different today than it was yesterday. day on this name. There goes Microsoft, fine. But I was talking about Facebook right here. Facebook, another move back upside. We're just going to let this one settle down. I mean, if we can get like a 228, then I think that's great trading for me, and we'll take $5 on that move. But right now, Facebook just kind of dancing around, not really giving too many key levels here. It's been pretty choppy. Obviously, that take, I told you we were going to do that. And then as per, that's that $2 hit, which is why I'm fine right now. No problems on that hit. We kind of planned that. So not the hit, but we had the idea planned. So a right amount of shares so that it didn't even faze me. And then we went long there, got nervous, got out a little bit, and was like, why are we nervous when we have our targets? So it did fade back in. Obviously, yesterday, the way Facebook traded, we didn't want this thing to just tank again on us. So we take out a little bit of risk. Was the wrong move, but there it is, celebrating that $1.40. So all in all, good trading here on Facebook. And up goes Microsoft, hopefully. As we reloaded now, we just took a bid down here at $30.20.
Yeah, so got into SOPA when it made that open, basically just barely over flat. Got up to that 537, 535 area on the daily chart, and then just absolutely flushed right back down. So I shorted the first consolidation I could get. That was at 22s. Stop at that high of the day. It looks like, oh, good, the refresher. Someone just tried refreshing at $5. So I just jumped in front for the first third in front of 501. 480 was a pre-market high. Here, I'm going to get out the next leg in front of that 480 level. So picking targets is just previous resistance turns into support. Pretty standard the way I would play every one of these, I guess, gappers and halt style trades over and over again. Looks like Peloton. And as that was happening in SOPA, it's a timing thing. You're not going to be able to catch every single trade. SOPA opened back up, and that's what I was watching for that particular setup. At that same moment, Peloton made its move into 34, wick high at 34, the level I was waiting for. I did try to come quickly over to get the share short. I missed getting 33.66, as you can see there. It's now peeled away from that level. So, look, you're looking for something. That's your wick off top. That's your entry point. I don't get it. I'm not chasing it. You know, it was there. Fortunately, SOPA looks like it's going to work out. I mean, wouldn't be happy if SOPA turned into an immediate loss, but you go from one to the other at the same time. If you're playing a reactionary play off a failed break, you got to trade it as it happens. You can anticipate what might happen at that price level, but if two things come at the same time, you got to pick one. Unless, of course, you're a robot, and then you can do whatever you want.
What's up, Brando?
SPAC, because I know everyone loves those. XPOA, taking a quantum computing company public. So 180-degree capital portfolio. They're going to take, what is it, DPCM, so D-Wave. Going public, guys, with a merger with XPOA.
All right. We still got DWAC. I completely ignored that. I didn't even realize it was when $1 in the money, so we'll have to wait for that one. Softy right here. Again, you know, it needs to go up. We need to make some money on this, so we'll have to wait on it. We did take some risk off as it just ripped up off of that level. So again, remember, we already misstepped here and we got out at 301 break. 300 break right there. And then this is a new position. Buy, and now I'm looking at like up here, this 50 period, if the market goes. But you can see right here, the NASDAQ, like I'm not just going to look at, it's very tough to trade individual names unless, I mean, Peloton right now is $3.50 in the money. So that's a good one. But if I'm going to be trading Facebook, Microsoft, anything, like the NASDAQ means a lot to these names. So we need a positive sentiment here in the market to go upside. And if the NASDAQ doesn't go, then I don't expect Microsoft to do that either. So right now we'll have to hold out hope that we do have a 301 and that we do have a good level here on Softy, obviously defending this 300. So let's just, you know, calm down and see if this works. Because honestly, guys, Peloton right now, $4 in the money. So hopefully we get a couple spikes for the Super Bowl coming up right now. But we're pretty happy as it's taking out $34 right now on Peloton. So here we go. A nice little move to the upside. We're now $4 in the money on this name. And man, what a difference a day makes here for trading. So let's go. We're taking this back up to the upside. So here we go, Peloton, up to $34. And there goes Softy, by the way.
Just got next leg on Velodyne. It broke 450. We just got some out at 440. Going back over to Snapchat, by the way, Snap did go all the way down to that 35 before bouncing. Remember we talked about 35 support, so 36 into 35. It'll take the dollar clean, but it just snapped back up off of that level. So it looks like support came in pretty much where we anticipated. Peloton just made its second move, as Sean mentioned, into 34. You have another wick high. It's not the first time through. This is not, to me, this is not as good of a trade as that first wick off top that you see here, where it's just a cleaner rejection. You're in and you're out pretty quickly, but I am going to try it. 34 just got broken, went to the quarters, and did a hard reversal. To me, that's a very, very similar setup. It's a fail break. It traps a few of the long trades in there, and plus you know exactly where it is that you're going to be wrong in the trade. In the event that it might be wrong, of course, I'm not going to chase it too far here, but I want 34.5, somewhere in there on Peloton. Watch out for SOPA. It looks like it's trying to come back in. I got 2 legs out. Last one in front of that 490 level here. As it tries to reclaim that high, I'll give it to that 530 level that we talked about on the 15-minute chart. Do not want this one breaking back out, as that's the thing about being live. Sometimes you can have a live fire drill that I think is going on here. I don't know. DWAC, on the other hand, leveling off at that 82. It never came to 85 to 87 for that same fade, as we do deal with that fire test that's going on right now. And back over to Pfizer. This is the other name. Want to be very patient with Pfizer here. It looks like, come on, load. Come on, Pfizer. Yeah, it's doing that thing where it just sticks here. So my chart's going to be useless. Pfizer trying to bounce off $50 one more time here. It's gone to that 50.10. It's bounced back up. It looks like we're at 50.40, barcoding back and forth on Pfizer. That level still very much in play as we take you to Brendan at the big screen for Happening Now.
Try and compete with our friendly neighborhood firefighters doing a fire alarm test. Here we go. Bit of a choppy start once again, as we were talking about. If you joined us early this morning, S&P basically flat on the day. The Dow positive. The Russell back and forth as well, depending on what you're looking at. The NASDAQ trying to lead to the downside here, about 0.15 for the NASDAQ. So not a lot of action so far for the overall markets. Here's NVIDIA off the ARM news. They tried to take it back up to where it ended the day yesterday, but right back down here to 240, basically day lows for NVDA. Yeah, that Rumble SPAC had a move as well. I wish I was watching this. 1575, a great fade opportunity for CFVI this morning, guys.
Yeah, just came back and fire alarm testing looks like it's quickly done there. We'll see what happens. But that second fade, which was a failed break at 34. First, you had the wick top 234. Then you had the failed break at 34. We grabbed the 33.69 short, able to get some out in front of 33 for first leg. Second leg, right at this consolidation here. That's 31 to 31.5. Somewhere in front of that range is where I want to get out. Sometimes it's about the structure of trade more than anything else. And like I said about SOPA, right? Take your profit on the way down. Do not let it run back to the high of the day. This is a play off of a halt fade. I'm not giving it to the high of the day. It's now halting upside again, where I'm probably going to look to do the exact same setup here, just in case it wants to open flat and then give you another possible in and out on the fade trade. And I talked about Snapchat catching that bid at 35 even. So as much as we're able to get in and out, this is that wick down. It jumped back up to 35.5. Now Snapchat instantly breaking the low again. I'm in and out for the buck. Don't forget that 34 level. When things went haywire on Friday, it was that 34 bottom that twice held up rather nicely, and then it came back roaring all the way to $40. So that could be in play in just a matter of minutes here. As the market, it's going the other way, downside.
Yeah, big time downside the other way. We're looking at Peloton here, and we are, we have the $3 win, so maybe 32.50 or so as a spot to get out. If it does come back in a little bit, that's fine. We will take that as an out. So 32.50 on Peloton. We better put our order in there fast so that we can make sure that it hit that in case it does go. So that's something that Neil and I will do, is put in our stop orders. So we don't have to watch the stock as much as others probably do. Okay, so Pfizer coming back in right now. We can retest this level. This is my number one stock by far here today. So comes back in, hits some key levels, and then actually works. And right now it's getting hit. Look at the NASDAQ falling down. So I was just looking. I just came back and sat down. I reloaded the coffee up. Came back, sat down, and Facebook was $1.50 in the money. And then right now, it just, like literally 2 minutes ago, we were all the way up here. We just retested this 223 there, 223, 223.50. So Facebook, with this market move downside, now starting to get a little spicy here. So this might be either a good reload spot. 223, what is... what is this exact level here? 220, yeah, 223.60. So let's put an order right there just to test this out. Like, and if it breaks, here it comes, it's coming back into us right now. If it breaks to the down, there we go, we're long. So if it breaks back down, we don't want to be in this one for a very long time. So we've sat on Facebook, watched it just take our whole day away. We're definitely not going to do that right here. A break lower than 223 and we'll get out. VWAP is right here. We got to respect some of these levels. It looks like it wants to come down. Like I said, we're not going to sit here and fight this market over and over again. So if Facebook blows to the downside, then that is what it's doing. The market giving up again. Wow. It can't ever hold these highs. Like normally it happens at the end of the day, but right here you're seeing NASDAQ starting to fall down a little bit off some of these levels.
Yeah, it's got no chill, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I get into square when it breaks that block, when it breaks, who cares, square, when it breaks that 100 level. It hasn't really moved a ton. I mean, it got down to 99.50, then it came back to like the 140 cent level. I feel like you have to let this like waver between that buck and, you know, at 101 area. I do want to try to scalp some just so I can possibly rinse and repeat this. But this is what I like about that 100. Like, look at this, how clean this is on the daily, on your 15. It had a 102. It had a 102 higher low a couple of times before this eventual 100 and 100 break in here today. If the market wants to continue down, I want to give this one some room to the downside just to see if it can hold on. Going back over to Peloton, we're in opposing directions, but obviously at vastly different prices. It just held up at 32.75. As long as it consolidates here, it feels pretty safe. But a lot of times you take this trade and your stops at the high of the day. When it holds the first level of consolidation, to me, that's very bullish and sometimes validates a breakout. I'm moving the stop to closer to break even. So I actually want my stop closer to this 33.90 to 34 area just to make sure we don't turn this into a gong show. And then I still want to be getting out around that 32 level. So I'm not really changing the target, but I am recognizing the fact that this is looking maybe a little bit stronger, especially when the market's going in the other direction. Let's keep in mind here, guys, that this market is dying. So if anything that's making move to the upside, even if it's in the money, I want to make sure I'm managing and reevaluating that position. SOPA, by the way, that was an up halt. It's indicating opening lower, actually, about 20 cents lower. So I thought it might open higher, maybe test $6 and do the same fade trade we did before. But this might open up at 540. It's looking like, or 550. So this one could be opening down, which does change the entry a little bit. Brendo.
The other end of the Pfizer report today, guys, on the COVID side anyways, BioNTech, getting absolutely crushed here off that forecast, Pfizer forecast, I guess. 9.25%, just made a day low there for BioNTech.
Yeah, like they're more, BioNTech is going to be the more, I guess, volatile name if you're looking in if you're looking at the vaccine place there. Just coming back over to one other one that we talked about here, that Snapchat. It's right back to that 35 level. Looks like for now a bit of a failed break. At this point, we're not in it. We're looking for 34 as a bid. Otherwise, it's got to retest that 36. SOPA just opened back up, and it looks like it did, in fact, actually open a little bit lower. I didn't see any real test to $6. That seems a little, I don't know. I had level 2 up. I didn't see it test $6. Could have happened very quickly. But for now, that halt price at 565 is looking like a little bit of resistance on SOPA, setting up for a potential fade. But that 65, that's got to be the out.
All right, we're just kind of massaging. So Facebook breaks, so that is what that is. Facebook up and down again. We tested it there. It does break 223, and look how far it goes down, a lot right there. So don't trust Facebook for me today, but instead we're just going to go back to my favorite name, the name that's probably made the most money on this show, Microsoft, as that's, here we go, yes sir, a nice little rip here for Softy, back upside, bang, there it is, man. We're going to stay in our lane, man, and just, I told you, like, if we run the numbers, I think it's going to be Softy, number one, maybe DWAC too, number one name here. And there it is for me, upside 301 now. We just got out of that. So let's see if it can withstand this. This was on our sticky note today as a 300 defend. So again, we try to be as patient as we can. We got a little excited early, and we did take $1.50 on that and then gave it back. But since then, I told you we was trying to switch up our game a little bit here and be a little more patient. And you want to talk about being patient? Let's go right here, do some backflips as Peloton, right back up to $34, man. So I think that this is probably a spot now where we've just held that against, well, not against us, but it does go all the way back down. We did have our 32.50 level. That was pretty much as gold as can be. It held that, and then Now we're going back up to the upside. So let's just take this out for a smooth. I mean, it's $4 on Peloton, guys. Like, I think we got to probably take that. But again, nice little move to the upside. It did resist this 32.50. So hey, things are starting to move to the upside here for even more. It's just we got to understand that it's already hit 34 like 1, 2, and then now just again 3 times. So we may be, a little greedy by holding on to this one, but hey, let's just let it move a little bit more. Microsoft, let's take it another piece here, as it's not struggling, but it's up at 301, so we should do that. Take $1 on this name if we can on Softy, so let's wait a little bit higher than this. We'll get out at 301 if it does print, but right now Microsoft making moves to the upside, and I think Facebook is as well, but Facebook downside.
Coming
so
back.
yeah, sorry, I thought that was 224, but there's just 4s there. So Facebook still making moves down, and the best thing I did was get out of this, so now I don't have to worry about it. We do have this wick off top. I'll have to figure that out. I don't think Facebook went to 244 there, guys.
Yeah, there's a few of these, sort of dark pool fills that you'll see off the charts that you just can't really, our P-Pro 8's going to log all those trades, so you'll see them reported late, sometimes in real time as well. I'm into SOPA. I saw this super chat regarding Lucid, and I will talk about it. 25.65, that double bottom. It's a good level, but I'm sort of have enough names, especially getting in and out of SOPA here, which is your halt, reopen kind of stock. And I just jumped back into it on that consolidation when it opened lower, up halt, open lower. I got a 533 short. We're going to try and get some out here in front of 5, maintain a core position so that I can still hold out for it to get back to these 450 levels to the downside, but do not want it getting through the halt price. That 565 up at the top there. Piton, it got real close. Like, I tightened the stop up here, and then it managed to hold the range. So it's holding both the top of the range, 33.90 here, and then the bottom end of that 32.85. At this point, it breaks lower. I'll get out on that momentum. Otherwise, any break of that high, and I'll get out of that Peloton. Square, this is a different... Look, the Square is a bit of a different trade. Like, you're seeing a scalp in and out SOPA. Like, we're in and out of those in a couple of minutes. Sort of a similar thing maybe with Peloton, Velodyne, a small cap name. But Square on that 100 break, like, for a level like this, if we're gonna flush and it's gonna have a chance to go through it, like, this is not get in and out of it and not want to hold on to this trade a little bit longer. This is when I might scalp some out in front of like 99 or 99 and a half with the idea of maybe rinsing and repeating down here. But I want this to settle down. If it goes sideways, I want to work this trade. I just feel like there's so much room. If it were to continue falling, you could see 95s today. And that's because we're entering a new price range here for Peloton. So it's a bit of a different style trade there. I would have been doing this, like, let's say I actually got into GM and it bounced off 47. I'd like that to hold on a little bit longer. If Pfizer had gotten up to that 52, which it never got to, that's a fade I would want to hold on to longer. Very similar with Square here. Brendan.
Just noticed the seed. Remember SEED, very, very low volume here. Only 200,000 shares, but just popped up on a volume spike. Watch 7 there on seed. There's also SBEV trying to go here. A nice looking daily chart anyways, testing $5 on decent volume for this one.
All right. Yeah, lots to go on. Thank you, Kenny Powers. I love Kenny Powers. They're one of the best shows ever on HBO.
It's a good show.
And then thank you. Oh, that's Kenny Powers. Now a member. What's up? Thanks for the Piton coaching. Hey, you're welcome on that one. And there it goes. Yes, sir. Peloton again. Wow. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. We just did get out, though, at 33.50 there as we were looking at that. So sometimes that is what it is. And today we throw down the cash for Peloton. So we're obviously hella positive on this one. My number one stock today is going to be Pfizer, and absolutely destroyed this on good shares there. So that's why it's my number one. But honestly, Peloton, just for the way it's structured and how it was, this is my number one trade today. Breaking through 30, we took it. We took the first piece at 31. We had to hold this against us about 50 cents. So that's where that first dollar makes sense. And then all the way to the upside there. Remember, our out was going to be 28, but now that I'm flat, I guess I can cancel said out now. As DWAC's starting to move a little bit, I don't know, it's trying to go back to the upside here. We're waiting for 80 to break. We do have some offers out this time. We're long at 82.20. So let's see what happens now for this. We're sitting at 40. So if it rips up just a little bit more on DWAC, your boy will add this into his repertoire and trade this for a nice little dollar win to the upside on DWAC. But hey, who knows where this thing's going to go, Brendo? What's up?
Red to green move there for CFVI as well, as we went down to 14 at the bottom. But back to these levels from the pre-market here, trying to go higher for CFVI.
And I promise I get to the super chat about Lucid. So you're referring to this 25.60 bottom that we put in just at the end of January here, and we're screaming back into that level. Lucid has not, this was the first consolidation it found since it had that break on the daily chart and it filled in that gap. So, ignore some of the levels that you see at that 26, 25.65 is just as significant, I think, as anything I'm actually looking at. I think it probably bounces off that level at least one time. They were finally zooming out so you can see. It probably has some kind of a bounce, and then I think it can be faded around this previous low, that 26.40. You just can't ignore momentum like this once it starts going to the downside and breaks a level. And then there's not much to look at. If we break 25 half, you do have to consider 25 even is a very big psychological level, so it might have some support there. I think scalping profit, if that's your game, is reasonable in that price range. But yeah, Lucid, that double bottom bears mentioning. I got to pay for shorts just in case we get down there. And Facebook's starting to come right back. I still think 215 is going to be, I'm still bidding in front of 215 for the first level defense. It never got up to the levels I wanted to short. That's at 23, so unfortunately we don't actually have the short in that name. But we're going to stick to what is still in play. Remember that the only reason I'm short Peloton is this 34 level up at the top. It gave you 2 cracks at it. I got it the second time. My target for the second out is right around that 32 level, just showing on the 15-minute chart.
Did it break?
Well, it hasn't. Well, it's still in the same range.
Okay.
No.
I thought it went above 34 there.
So so look at it. It has not broken up
There's
above
DWAC.
34 again, and it hasn't broken below 32.80. So we're still in the same range we've been in for about 15 minutes in Peloton. One way or the other, I think we're either headed to VWAP or 35.
All right, wow, good day today, man. What's up to Ms. V? There's our DWAC first out $1. We'll wait for the other out. We just took it out at 25 there, so we were waiting at 40, like randomly, just because these levels right here was 83.50. So I thought I'd wait ahead of that, but whatever, man. We'll take the smooth dollar right there and talk about a smooth dollar. There it is again coming through. Wow, what a difference a day makes for your boy here. As yesterday, we were back and forth. Today, much more. I mean, it might not seem like this is very calm, but it is, man. Every single time it came back down to 300, we just sat there, took the trade, believed in it, talked about it. You can see on our sticky note today, we're just all over everything today, and I think it was a good one. Peloton, we talked about that. Like, you want to, guys, like, thanks for watching. First of all, hit the like button if you can. I'm going to put this in the chat. Like, look what this is. Let's look long 30 on Peloton is what we said. It's at 33.50 right now, and we have that trade. Facebook, we talked about the long 224. That worked, didn't work, out at 220. Facebook's been my worst stock today. Look at this. Try the long at 50. That's exactly what we did, and we took $1.40 on that trade, right? DWAC, could it pop through 86? I don't know, but we already made $1 on DWAC, so let's wait to see if that happens. And then this is 17.50, but the thing about Ford was, on the GM downgrade there, it just got whacked, so we have to check out that. And then Microsoft, defend 300. I mean, honestly, guys, find somebody else on Twitter that's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, give you 6 calls, and then other than Facebook, it's pretty good. So let's wait to see what happens there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the Sticky Note, which, of course, is absolutely free. We are almost getting ready to reload Pfizer right now. So watch out for Pfizer back down near 50 flat for PFE. And there goes Microsoft, by the way, still taking out these highs. We should probably put an offer around 302.50. What's up, Brendo?
Teradata, cloud computing name, reported aftermarket yesterday. You can see a huge move today, 23%, big blowout report for them. Just making day highs, guys. 50 incoming for TDC.
Yeah, that running hog still trying to make some moves. Square for me, we're going to take a shot at that 100 level. Going to be out when it retakes that 101.50. I wanted to give this some more room. This was not necessarily going to be a scalp trade, but you can't ignore the fact that it wicked down to 99.50 and then is going to make a strong recovery. So you don't want to get too trapped at the bottom. It has resistance all the way to 104, 105. So there's two kinds of trades. Either you're willing to give it a buck and a half in the middle, or you want to give it all the way to 105. There's no way I'm giving it to 105, not when the market just did exactly the same move as Square, which is this is the ES, hard to see on a 60-minute chart, but breaks the low, wicks down, and then makes an immediate recovery. You basically get the same thing on the NASDAQ, breaking the low, wicks right back above. So that can be trapping shorts at the bottom. Even if I like a level, you've got to adjust to what's going on in the overall market. And then coming back over to I want to talk about Hog just quickly here because obviously this name, not a lot of volume in the pre-market, but this was one that we talked about, and this is my fault. I should have had this one to the long side. Quite simply, like I actually had my bid in the pre-market when I did not get filled in the first 5 minutes, and then it bounced back up to 40 even. I checked back, it's at 40. I actually canceled my bid. So I didn't get the long. It's now breaking that 40 even. So Harley Davidson, the only time you ever want to trade this bad boy is when it does earnings. And when they beat like this, it can be pretty explosive, up 12% now on Hog.
There it is, man. Another $2 right there for you on soft. We get out some at 302. Now we don't have any offers. I was actually waiting up here at 302.50. Just want to take that out. And I want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to you, Ron Williams. Thank you. At Sean, you're killing it lately. We thank you. Thank you so much for that one. Great day. Thank you, Lawrence, as well. Thank you so much for a few of you in here. It just goes by so fast. But thank you for all the nice comments. We do see them. And yeah, I do think it's been pretty good trading today for us for sure. And again, we talked about what the mistake was yesterday, and it's just patience. I really think that's what it was. Just getting too excited with names that we didn't have good reads on. Facebook was too up and down, and even today, man, it's too up and down for me. It's just not trending. And when I'm trying to push bigger shares, if it's not moving away, then it's bad. So that's what that is. We did get a small reload, but again, where's my reload button? Okay. It's not much. We did put a very, very small piece on there at 06 for Pfizer. So now it's 10 cents in the money. I was waiting for 50 flat. Like, honestly, my bid is at 50.01. So we did miss that by a couple pennies, by 5 pennies, and then we would really be in the money. But right now, we'll wait for this one. I feel like we got to give this some time as wow. Microsoft now $2 plus in the money. Look at DWACO right here, Brendo. We're going to go to Brendo in a minute. But bang! For DWAC right now, a nice $2 in the money, and still running. Run DWAC. Let's see what happens to 86 bucks. But so far, so good today on the sticky note. We're pretty happy with today's trading. And with that being said, let's go over to Brendan at the big screen. Looks like he's going to talk some Velodide.
Hey guys, yeah, right back down for VLDR. Look at the daily chart, all the way to 750, right back down. Even with the potential Amazon tie-in, I guess you could say. 5 was support in the pre-market. Let's go right at the open. Hasn't looked back. 550 I mentioned at the open as well. A bit of resistance, but doesn't come into play, doesn't get much easier than that if you're looking for a fade. KVL from yesterday, so much strength late in the day. This thing ended right at day highs, comes back to 165, 180 above that. Kind of failed there at 165. So chopping around right now within its range, but trying to be patient with that one. Still have a chunk of that. We'll see what happens. I actually flipped long on this SOPA off that last resume down to 520. We'll see what happens at 485. If you go to a daily chart, this thing has a lot of room all the way to 657 if it wants to really get going. As we said, relatively low float on this as well. So first trade was basically flat. Gave you a quick little scalp there at the open, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, don't sleep on that one. It looks like it's going to move a heck of a lot today. DWAC, like I said, you had that 80 that first time through, 85 to 87. That is that key price area. I should be zooming out a little bit more so you can see on the 15-minute. This is what it looks like above 85. You had all kinds of failed breaks, go to 87, go to 86, come right back in until yesterday when you had the breakout. So that price area is exactly what we're looking for a resistance level. That's what I'm trying to figure out if we can get there. I don't want to chase it. It's at 84 right now. So if your out is 85s and 87s, then I want to be short in front of 85 and 87. Velodyne, Brendan just went over that, so no need to come back into it. I'm still in Velodyne and don't really have any reason to get out of it just yet. Snapchat, on the other hand, that's making a bit of a bounce here. It didn't quite, I would have reloaded if we got back into that 36 quarter. It got to 35.96 as the market tried to bounce back to the upside, but the trend is still very much the other direction in Snapchat. To me, it's not breaking the trend unless it gets at least past quarters, if not breaking that 36.5 to 36.70 area on Snapchat. Peloton, this is a bit confusing to me. I would have thought by now, this is the second time that it's held 32.80. So I figured, okay, it got back up here. I'm like, oh yeah, my Titan stop into 33.90. That'll break any second now, and it still has not broken. So it's weird to see Peloton go back and forth in this 50 to 60 cent range. I'm still looking for it to break down, although the moving target of VWAP continues to go higher. Obviously, the longer time it spends up here and does more volume, you're going to see that move above 32. So I'll make a slight adjustment to get my bid in front of 32 in case it rolls over. But you're basically seeing nothing happen at the top here. If it does break the high, then I think you can get a chance at a secondary breakout on Peloton, just because if you kind of look at this, I guess you got to see it on the daily chart. If you kind of look at this here, there's some room to get you to like 37.5 next level up. So Peloton could go, just disappointing to see it run out of steam here and go sideways.
Yeah, that's why, honestly, man, we'll just go get out of Peloton as we just did there for the $3.50. I mean, we just tweeted that out, that this long at 30, great. And so far, hopefully you guys are able to have some success today as well, because, you know, after yesterday, today is pretty good. So there it is, a nice little move to the upside. So we're multi-long there on Peloton and now out. As I look for some other names, let's check out AMD quickly, another name that's kind of flying around here the last couple days, obviously off earnings, obviously the NVIDIA deal as well there with ARM pulled. So SoftBank going to, I guess, IPO, or I don't know, we're going to spin that off somehow. 122 bottom there. We'll have to wait for it. It's still in a range. And this is what we're doing, man. I'm a new man, as you guys know today. It's funny how that can change in one day. As we've hit micros, we're very light on all these trades right now. So that's why we're just stone cold chilling right now, trying to find some more trades. Donkey Kong, still bless you. Donkey Kong still down $1. Let's check in on our Goldman Sachs off the long 350. I know Brennan talked about, 370 now for GS. What's, just not doing anything. Oh, it was JPM, I think Brennan came with earlier. Let's see what they're, so the only two banks I'm in is JPM, well, sans Canadian banks, but JP Morgan and Goldman. Brennan, maybe a quick reminder there, if you do have that JP Morgan story, what that was exactly, because yeah, they are well outperforming today. Goldman Sachs was just up at less than 1, and JP Morgan touching 3.5. So let's get that update one more time. What's up?
There actually wasn't any big news, guys, on the banks, but very strong. Look at BAC as well. Day highs on decent volume. Wanted to show you this though. A little one, DCFC. POTUS himself tweeting about this company, talking about hosting them at the White House among the infrastructure companies coming through. So big move here for DCFC on that, guys.
So they're just being hosted at the White House. Yeah, I mean, I just looked at that halted, actually doing really good volume. 1.8 million shares for this name, just got through like a $10. I'm going to check. It looks like it'll be interesting. Opening up $12 is the indicated open on this thing. Should be a 5-minute halt, but this was at $7 like 10 minutes ago, so who knows. Peloton finally made the break. It's not through the high, but I was gonna, like I said, tighten up the stop when it double held that support at 32 to ensure that we don't lose on that trade. Like, you got to go, when you're going against the grain, you're looking for that pullback into VWAP, but you want to make sure you're controlling your risk. And when the indications are that it's going to break the top, why give it that, like, why lose the extra 40 cents? It's just, that's the way I look at it. So you keep tighten up the stop there. I got to see if we have any locates on that DCFC. That's a new one. So first things first, is it shortable, and then find some levels.
All right, yeah, Peloton, guys. We dropped grenades on that one, and I hope you guys are able to get that as well. It's a good trade today for me, but wish it was obviously better because we got out at 33.50 as it's 34.50. It just touched there. Peloton, wow, what a runner that name is. Okay, Ford, that was the other name I want to get to. The only name on the sticky note, you can look up the sticky note, hashtag sticky note on Twitter. You'll find it. I'm the only one doing it, besides my girl Daniel Shea trying to copy with whiteboard stuff. I've already had my beef with her. But okay, 17.25, I'm just playing around. 17.25, yeah, I don't know. What do we think about this market, really? That's the key thing. Okay, so here goes Pfizer. So we are now into Pfizer. It just dropped out the face of the earth right here on that move. It takes out 50 and then just makes that move down. So we're going to watch out for that 49.80 spot here on Pfizer. We're about to give back some money for sure on this name, as it is showing basically like, you know, no chill on this name as it's coming right back down to the downside here. That is Pfizer. I don't know, man. Maybe we take a little bit off. This seems like that was a very, very dramatic move down to the downside. We don't want to give back a little bit of what we made here on that name. So here's Pfizer. There we go. We'll take. So I just took some off, 100% there. It dropped down, and again, our out's going to be 80, but it came pretty damn close to that. Let me see if I can zoom back in a little bit. It came pretty damn close to that at 86. I would have got stopped out there. So we will take some out 93 and then 96 again on the upside. We are long 01s, so that's a 10-cent hit. It comes right back to the upside now. So now let's take a piece out here at 06 if we can, and then some more on the upside. If we're right on this one, we're right on it. But again, we had to ease some back. I got shell-shocked yesterday holding on to too many trades. So if I have some key levels, like that almost got taken out there, and then we take it out at 06. So again, good trading here, pretty happy with it, and that's about that. We'll just start counting some cash up here. Hopefully we don't test 80, but if we do, we're gone on Pfizer.
Yeah, and we have no locates on that DCFC. It'll open up, and it looks like now it's indicating it'll open up down. Pfizer, I went for the short when it broke 50. That slipped all the way to 92, but then immediately found a bid, like right at like 86, 87. So I just got quickly out of it. That was way too much slippage on the trade. Didn't love it, so just got out of the trade. Maybe it continues to go to the downside. Who knows? But that DCFC, that just opened back up. Like I said, it actually opened up down. Unfortunately, like I said, we have no locates. That's about. This is one of those trades where it goes to $11, that whole price, it opens to the downside. You're probably looking to get in and out pretty quickly, and it just halted to the upside. So it would have actually given you a move from 11 to 10. No, it resisted a halt to the upside just now. That was kind of crazy. So it just resisted a halt to the upside at 11.50. This is a clear low floater that might need to halt at least one or two more times before it settles down here. Brennan gave you the news. They're visiting at the White House, coming back over to not to Velodyne. I wanted to come back over to Snapchat. This was the other one that we had just gotten potentially back into at 36. Looks like we're retesting 35. I'm going long in front of 34. It's 34 or 36. Don't want to be touching this one in the middle. The market's racing back down towards the low of the day. If that were to break, I think Snapchat 34 can definitely come into play. And that's the same thing with Facebook 215. Like unless I'm playing off a really key level, then I don't want to be touching it in the middle, and you got to make sure that you stick to your stop areas because it's whipsaw action around here today. And I did want to go over fun, which we've been ignoring. Funware, load. There we go. Fun just made a $3 break. If you remember yesterday when we were talking about this as the trade of the day, the initial short that we had before reversing into a 316 long was off of this 3 to 305 level. We're shorting it here at 95, and then when it broke that 3 even, we were able to get out of it, and then 315 was the level. It just put a failed break at 3, which does set it up to use this level one more time. Just remember, trading Funware, watching CFEI, watching DWAC, just to make sure you're not offside with the momentum in the other two names.
Yep, and we were looking at early here at Snapchat. It was a good call to look for the short because this was so easy up here, like 36, 37. You just use 37 as your target there on this little pre-market move, then you've been short this name the whole time. It was a little scary. You probably would have got out on this move back up here, so thinking that maybe the short was no good, but it did resist this 36 area. So for me, if we can get an opportunity to go short again, or not again, we're not in this name yet, but if there's an opportunity to go short, I think 36 here on Snapchat, as I know Neil just talked about it, but just want to give my 2 cents on that one. Disney's down to 140. That's an interesting level. I still so happy with Peloton, man. On the sticky note, we have 30 long, and we took it. And it gave you an awesome opportunity to get 30 long right off the open. So definitely a trade that everybody could have had right there. So that's really what makes me the most happy today, is giving all of the viewers that trade and at least the idea. Whether or not you took it or not, completely up to you for that. Peloton now taking 35. Wow. Okay, let's just go back to Facebook. We've stayed away from Facebook and with good intentions today, trading it. But again, it hit that 220 short, $2 loss, then took the money, and then it just covered around VWAP there, and it's really been doing nothing ever since. I do not see how the market's coming in right now. Why would I not just trade Microsoft off of these levels? I mean, this is what we're waiting for. Let's trade a stock that we trust down here instead of one that hasn't worked for us the last couple of days. But with that being said, I mean, maybe Facebook does show up at 220 again with some decent support. We did break it early, and they came back with a vengeance, but the market also rallied straight off the open, guys. So that probably had something to do with it. But again, that 220 defense, very important to me. So we're going to put a bid here at 220.50, see if that comes through, and that will be the last chance for me. If that fails, and it breaks 220, then we're gone again. So 50 cents worth of risk, well worth it for me on Facebook, but it does have to come in. So as I said, patience is going to be the key for me today. And so far, so good, as we only have one losing trade, and it's this one on Facebook.
Yeah, like I said, I just got into, I said I was going to get into fun. We did get it at 99s. The high currently sits at 02s. It went up a couple pennies, rejected the level. So tight stop the first time through, just like yesterday. We had a question about PayPal. We went over this in the afternoon yesterday. Just the trend hasn't been broken. Much like Facebook since earnings, PayPal just hasn't really truly found a bid. Like you can see, like you had some wick bottoms. Maybe it was about to hold this 123 area. That got broken yesterday. It made a low just above 120. Now it's trying to hold the 120. Sometimes you've got to let it make its own level as opposed to trying to guess where it's going to be. Currently 120 sits as that. If it holds this, and again tomorrow, I think it's got some better support for a swing. For the day trade, however, well, we can kind of look at this 120 level and say we've tested the bottom a couple times in the future, and PayPal's managed to hold well away from that, up here at that 121 level. If there's one snap down, defending a 120 makes some sense to me. The same way Square gave you multiple shots at 102s and 100, PayPal looks like it might give you multiple shots at this 120 level if it wants to come back in. Just keep in mind, that's going against the trend with the overall market. Like we are, so far today, looking a little bit more weak than anything else. Like we keep bouncing, but they're more and more shallow. Every time it bounces off the low in the NASDAQ, it's a little bit more of a shallow bounce, which is threatening that bottom, which kind of leans into some of those shorts. Keep that in mind. If you defend 120, it's with the notion as a day trader to get out if it breaks.
Yeah, Facebook's coming down here a little faster than I thought it would, so I don't even have my stop order ready. We almost got long. Like this is so stupid. I'm at 220.55. It went to 61 there, and we'd have a $1 winner if we had gotten filled there. So, you know, there is some support down here for Facebook, but I definitely, what is that bottom there? If we take that, we got to get out. 219, let's just go on a 220 break. I don't even, if we get stopped out again, we get stopped out again. So 219, like 97 or so on a break for that, and if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. We'll test that one spot there, but damn it, we came within 5 cents of getting that long on that flush. No idea why that even happened there, but it did. So, okay, just check back here. DWAC just doing nothing right now. We already got a good out. We should have had 84. We were waiting for 83.50, so the most we gave up there, remember we're long at 83, so 82. So the most we would have got there was $1.50 or so. So $2, I guess, the highest at 84. So we're happy taking that buck clean. We'll see if it goes higher. I'm holding this for that 86 break again here on DWAC, and we'll just see if that comes through. We are getting closer, obviously, to getting that Facebook and getting Microsoft. So we have two. Let me just cancel this one. I have too many bids out. We do have an order to go here. If we take out these bottoms on both these names, then we're gone. Like, we're not going to sit there and defend when we still have 5 hours in the market. This market could tank city here. So let's defend names that we like, including Facebook coming up soon at 220.50 and Microsoft getting awfully close down here to get me long as well, as the market's trying to break here.
Yeah, as we're trying to break those lows. But that SOPA, by the way, we took 3 cracks at a tight stop here. We got the win, and then we took the hit the third time. It's now retesting the original halt price. That's at 512. Now, it just had a slight break of this level, but I think unless it gets back above 520 to 530, it still has a chance to snap back down, reject that 512, and then it could be a follower for the rest of the day. A lot of times you make that wick high and then make the big pullback after it's halted up a couple of times. You want to see it capitulate here. So if it cannot hold this 510 area, it could be a reentry to the short. While that's happening, we just talked about PayPal like 2 seconds ago. PYPL. We just talked about PayPal a couple of seconds ago at that 120 level. Well, here it comes. So it broke that support that was there at that 121 area. Now headed down to 120 even. Like I said, you defend a level like this, it's with the notion that if 120 breaks, you're getting out of it. So I didn't have a bid before because I thought we'd actually calm down a bit. Looks like we're headed right down to 120. Square could be back below that 100. I'll double check that in a quick second. But PayPal, here we go to the low of the day again with the market.
Yeah, as the market goes, I'm noticing, like, again, we were so close to getting long Microsoft, but we'll wait for it. Again, if we just miss the trades, we miss the trades. There's nothing we can do. I'm a little bit upset that we missed the Facebook long because we were sitting there and we had a great price and we missed it. Like, instead of waiting at 220, I waited at 220.55 and only went down to 60 there. So we missed a dollar clean out. It just got out now. Well, I probably would have held a little bit. Okay, Pfizer right now dancing. Pfizer gave us an opportunity just right now to get out for flat, back up to 50. So I think this probably fails. It's already come back upside there a couple times off the same levels. We just touched 50 like how many times here since breaking? Once, twice, like basically every minute we touched 50 since it broke. So that would have been an epic short off there. But again, we have the long. It's been my number one stock today. And it looks like right now we will fail and take this out to the low side. So right now, Pfizer, just not a great stock. I would love to go short this name, but I want to see it react a little bit here. You said BioNTech, right? BNTX also moving today. Off some of that news as well as Pfizer reporting and showing its face here, down 8% on BioNTech. And again, what a dramatic move this and Moderna and all this has had. Like, this is real, man. 460, 470. Now you're down to 158. So, I mean, if you think the market is rigged, you're right.
Yeah, well, I think that's a strong word, but I think the market, in some ways, there are aspects of the market that feel a little bit broken in some respects.
Broken and rigged.
There's a big difference between broken and rigged.
Yeah,
I think
and they're both.
I think you got to put on your tinfoil hat to say that it's rigged, but that's just me.
That the market's rigged?
Yeah, that it's rigged.
Yeah,
because
it is rigged.
There's a vast difference between certain aspects of the market which are unfair, which I might agree with, especially the way you'll see some things move and the way some of the algos will behave. But then the entire market being rigged is an entirely different statement, right? I did just get back into SOPA. That's off a 520 level. Like I just said, I wanted to see it curl as it retested that halt price at about 510. Facebook just sits in the middle, and I keep looking back at it. It's like either break 225 and go to 230, or get below 220 so we can actually have, what I think can be some real action. And then, of course, just when I got geared up to get into PayPal, you're going to see what it ended up doing. I was sitting on the bid in front of the low of the day. It decided to make a turn at 120.50. I'm not going to chase it. Either it gives me the fill where I want it in front of that level at 120 even, or it doesn't. I'm not going to be chasing that one at all. We did not talk too much about Select Quote, which I kind of meant to get to. I thought at some point maybe this thing would catch a bottom. Sorry, there we go. Select Quote catching about 1 trillion downgrades after being shellacked on earnings here. It has caught a bid at 250, which might set it up for a bit of a trade here if it can get back to those pre-market highs. It's down 57%, so needless to say, it's short sale restricted, which means you're trying to catch it on a bit of a pop. And maybe it settles down, but it caught a bit off 250. There was almost no chance, unless you got in super early on the short in the stock, almost no chance. But it's caught its first bid. $3 maybe defendable, $3.25 as well. But they got a slew of downgrades and had a huge miss and are getting punished for it very heavily today. Meant to talk about it, but didn't end up on the watch list. And then it just didn't give you any options right at the open, but it's since caught a bid at 250, which could be actionable.
Okay, so Pfizer did. So we're into. Oh no, that's. So sorry, Pfizer does break. So like we said, we'll put Pfizer away now and not worry about that. But we did get into Facebook again, just right here. Let's see if it wants to work. I'm already upset that we 5 minutes ago, we missed the trade by 5 cents. So let's just take it here pretty light into this trade. I feel like it's now shown its face down here at the bottom and hopefully just wants to march to the high side. So first out, right in the middle here, if we could take this, would be great. 223.50. We'll try that for $1 on Facebook. And then, hey, if it continues to move to the downside, you'll hear about it, and we'll probably get out at this 221.50 or maybe even 222. Like I said, this is a very slippery slope. Already now 50 cents in the money on that, $1 here. And wow, there goes DWAC. Yes, sir, spin it. Money. DWAC again up to $85, Brendo. Let's see, here we go, 85.20 and moving. DWAC on the move, guys. And again, another name that's off the sticky note. We're long here at 82. $3 in the money, but hey, 86 is that key level for DWAC. Let's go over, have a look at the big screen. Looks pretty nice today, considering the NASDAQ is down.
About 50-50, we'll call it, split. The market basically flat right now, down 0.1. A lot of individual movers here, both directions worth mentioning, offsetting each other. Far corner, we talked about Alcoa, their all-time highs today. So the materials group here, every single one of them basically in positive territory, having a nice day. Right beside it, energy stocks on the way back down. So these two kind of offsetting each other, ending up basically flat. The tech group, pretty red so far today. There are a few names here standing out positive, but unfortunately not enough to get it back into positive territory. We talked about Take Two there, 2.5% for TTWO. Communication stocks overall pretty positive on the day, even with Google down again, like 3-4 days in a row to the downside. It's only 1.2, but still red. Netflix there, we mentioned as well, 1% to the downside for Netflix. Here are the cruise lines, NCLH, CCL, RCL, leading the consumer discretionary group after that positive update from NCLH in the pre-market this morning. So nice moves right across the board for them. Consumer durables, what I'm trying to say, also positive, even with Nike and Hasbro to the downside here. GM, Ford, Tesla, all three to the downside today. GM leading. Banks, we talked about the individual banks pretty strong here, but diversified financials and the insurance stocks. This group's actually basically flat, even with some earnings to the downside today. That's Moderna, that's Pfizer, that's Merck. That's about all you need to know from the healthcare stocks, guys. So back and forth we go. Basically flat for the S&P. Back over to you.
Yeah, basically flat. The Nasdaq's slightly down. It's a very mixed day. Like, you have some names that are sort of relatively weak. Like, you look at some of those automakers. Like we said, GM struggling. You get Pfizer struggling. But overall, the market, it's actually resisted breaking lows. There was a couple of points here today where it did feel like you took that low again. We'd have one of those types of days. But by the way, DWAC broke that 85, got into that 85 to 87 range. You then saw it get to 85, 86. Put in a curl that's right in the middle of that range, so that's an entry for me. If it breaks 85 again, I definitely want to scalp some out, then look back towards like 82, 83. That sits at about VWAP as we say that. Just got the first out there, so essentially sitting it out till it gets to that key level. Someone asked, am I going to trade Peloton again? Are we looking? When something sets up, yeah, it's all about trading a setup. There's a setup there, take the trade. Know where you're wrong, get out if it hits, and then if it goes in the profit for you, then worry about it at that point. So you can reevaluate trades as the market moves on you, but overall it's just about taking the setups and then getting into the trade when it gets to your price area. Like I would have done it to the long side in PayPal if we caught it. It didn't want to give you the fill. In this case, DWAC did get to that price area where we wanted the curl, and looks like it might be doing it here. We'll see what happens as the market tries to boom once again to the upside. Maybe Facebook breaks back out and gets to that 230 level, although I'm sort of done almost thinking that Facebook's going to make any kind of a significant move today, because if it wants to sit in the range, and I didn't anticipate that happening, then obviously that's going to be a wrong call. I thought we'd be breaking to either 15s or 30 on either end. It's just been a lot more calm on Facebook, which could be a good sign for it, maybe making a temporary bottom.
Yeah, you guys want the money, so we'll spin it for you. There it is. Yeah, we took 50 cents clean there on Facebook. We have the 50, we have the out at O's, and here we go to the upside now, another 60, 70 cents now in the money on Facebook as that's starting to rip up again, taking out levels. Let's see if we can go upside. I don't even have any offers now, so if we can go there. And look what the heck is happening also right here with our boy Microsoft, as we are now $2 in the money on Mr. Softy, and again, well away from getting hit. Like, we should have already had that trade on board. We talked about just missing that, but whatever. Water under said bridge right now, but let's just keep going to the upside now with Softy, with everything. Motor, guys, upside as the market looks like it wants to break. So no complaints from their boy on this side. Let's just have this market keep going up, 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 and away. And then, we'll just count our chickens here. As Microsoft right now, $2. Facebook, $1 right now. DWAC, $3 now. In the money. So yeah, we're on one today, that's for sure. Much different than yesterday, but we are super, super happy as Pfizer comes all the way back. It looks like we got out of that one at the low, but look what it's doing now, trying to take out 50, well, does take out 50, and now rocking. I got to make sure I don't have any offers out there, which I do not. So let's go upside on Pfizer, which we still had that. Then we'd really be cruising, but $1 right now on that. So whoa, let's go. Thank you for the super chat. Someone said, thank you, Neil, for diligence, Sean for relentlessness. us. Here it is right here. Miss V and Trader Proud for inspiration, and Arun for being zen, and Brandon for being professional. So thank you so much, guys, for the super chat. That means a lot to us as we are rocking and rolling. Bang! Cooking with fire right now. Spin it as the market is on one, and so are we. What a difference a day makes. Let's go market. And right now, DWAC just takes out 86. So let's see how high we can fly. Do we see 96 today?
80, to me, it has to break 87. The significant gap on DWAC is if it breaks that 87 area. So got in, took the dollar, then take about a 15-cent hit on the second half. That's how we structured. Someone said double top and snap. I don't necessarily agree. At the open, Snapchat broke 36, tried to get to 36.5 and faded from there. This top at 36 even, it's traded above that, both in the pre-market and right at that open. So even if it takes out 36 here, it still has to get through the top end of the range, which makes it a tricky trade for a breakout, especially when you factor in, look at the NASDAQ. It's just going right back towards where we were at the highs. If it rejects that level, you'd essentially be going long in a relatively weak name, down 5%, right into possible resistance. So I don't think Snapchat's at a double top worth taking a breakout trade. If anything, I'd be looking, and I am actually looking to fade it off the same level that we got the buck earlier. So, if you're going to take breaks, make sure it's in something strong, which has some upward momentum. It can be a bit of a trap, Snapchat, and then you're $1 away from the support at 35 even, which could put you in trouble. By the way, I've been ignoring Velodyne. It's actually starting to make market's going back up. It's actually starting to make a little bit of a bottom itself and curl back up. It just so happens that the low of the day is 420 here. That's not significant in any way, but it's trying to curl back upside. I would be reloading this name at VWAP just because it put all kinds of support at 460 before flushing to 420. So if it comes back up to that 460 level, I think it's a re-engage that short. And I was being tongue-in-cheek about that 420 not being significant. The warrant price was 418, so that's probably the reason it turned there.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about
it wasn't even a 420. Whatever, man.
Guys, look at Pfizer here. Pfizer. Obviously news, I think this is on J&J. J&J shutting down one of its plants, and obviously Pfizer just absolutely takes off. It sucks because this news was about 5 minutes too late for us.
Oh, wow.
Or else, we would have been on one for that. So I'm debating right now trying to short Pfizer off this move. We'll go a little light on this if we can. And then if it takes out this 50-50 again, then there we go. So now we're back into short. We'll get out if it takes out 50-50. No doubt about that. So we'll just put our order in right now to take this out. So we are short again, Pfizer. There goes DWAC. Oh no, I thought DWAC, just my net is changing here because of the spread. That's what it is. So right now, Pfizer again, Facebook, again, up $1.50. Microsoft up $2.50. And again, thank you for all the nice notes there in the chat as well. It means a lot to me. And so let's just keep on rocking. Here's Pfizer, guys. Yeah, we did it again on this one. Let's see if we get a 20 bid. We're sitting there bidding 20 right now. And yes, there it is. So takes it. Let's go. Let's go to the downside right now. Yeah, this is a good, yes. Good trading here for Pfizer as we take that short. Let's see if we get back near 50 flat. We'll stick a bid there and have a quick look. But right now, look at DWAC, man, $3 in the money. Facebook, $2 in the money. Microsoft, $2 in the money. And Pfizer, 20 whopping cents in the money. But what's up, Brendo?
Just a heads up on Pfizer as well, guys. The call, it looks like still going on. Started at 10 o'clock, but it looks like it is still underway here for PFE.
Oh, God, yeah. Obviously, it can be dicey sometimes trading. Make sure you always have ins and outs. If you're not listening to a call, sometimes you will get something that gets said and causes a little bit of movement in the stock. Coming back to STAP, it's starting to roll over. So that break at 36, which I thought might go at least 25 or 30 cents to be faded, went a whopping total of 7 pennies as the market continues to push towards the high. So the relative weakness sort of sitting there in Snapchat. And someone said, why are we ignoring CFVI? It's not. Look, we've looked at Fun and DWAC, which are both moving here today. I think you got to pick and choose. You can't trade all three of these at the same time. That's just, I think it's a little bit crazy. They're going to move together a little bit, and yes, it's making a bit of a break. So we can look at the fact that it just twice this morning on the 15, you can see it break that 1650 high and reject it. That's a well away from yesterday's tops. It just looks a little bit dirtier if you watch it on the 1 minute chart here. You have these crazy moves to the upside. 15 looks pretty clean. I think if it holds below, longer it holds below this 17 area, or I guess 1680, certainly you could have a bit of a failure, but this is a strong looking setup for me as far as I'm concerned. I'm looking to go counter trend when I don't have longs off the bottom, right? So once it's already made a move, and I just look at how much cleaner DWAC was just there at 85, 86, and this looks a lot trickier unless it gets back up to 18 to 1850. So I'd rather trade setups that make some sense. That's what DWAC did just at that top. And I don't mind, whoops, I gotta zoom in for you guys again. I don't mind if we take a stop out and then it reverses. Sometimes you make a top wick, but that's just following the rules. It could have easily broken 86 and then gone right to that 87 level that I wanted to trade off of. So rather than hold a dollar against me, I'll get out, make sure that that's a winning trade overall. And if we get 87s, we do. And if we don't, move on to the next trade. And we are moving on to Brendan at the big screen for Money Talks.
Hey guys, yeah, a few interesting moves to mention in currency land so far today. That is the Canadian dollar on a daily chart. I left this on here from last week. 79 resistance there coming into play once again. There was some trade data out in this country this morning that was well off where they expected it to be, so actually into a deficit for this country. So 0.3 to the downside here for the Canadian dollar, 78.7 once again, when the US dollar finally bouncing after a bit of a weak start. To this week. Back to the upside today. Euro's lower on that. British pound basically flat. Everything else either basically flat or slightly to the upside today. Turkish lira 0.4% move. Australia and New Zealand basically flat as well. Same story for cryptocurrencies. I mean, 1.5% and 2.5%, kind of a basically flat day for cryptos, guys. Back over to you.
I like it. Cryptos. Yeah, good day for crypto today. Holding upside 40 is nice. Yeah, UPST, we'll look at that, Josh, but I mean, honestly. Oh, yes, sir. Let's go. There it is. Spin it. Money. DWAC there takes out 86 right now. So obviously a nice move to the upside. This is, again, another $4 winner for us. So a good trade right here. The only thing right now that I'm kind of debating is this softy trade. It's just bouncing around on the high. Okay, here we go. And then, now it just completely makes up my mind for me as it's starting to go back up to the upside as the futures are starting to go. And yeah, we're hella long everything right now, except for our boy Pfizer. So let's put, there we go, just took an 08 out. So here we go, a nice little short there off this, making back this long right here. Short at 40, 30, like, you know, we're going both ways here. Short on Pfizer right there, 50.30, just took it out, 50.07. And we only have now 40% of that trade. As here we go, guys, Facebook getting elevated, $2 in the money on Facebook. $3 in the money now on Mr. Softy as we continue to run the gambit here today in the stock market, as it's just been a great opportunity to make a lot of these trades. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, everybody on the chat. Means a lot. But Henry, we have not yet looked at Palantir, and there's reasons for that. We've been destroying everything else. We're trying to be as specific as possible. And again, thank you guys. Twitter's been on fire today, so thank you so much for all the love.
And DWAC just put another, I guess, fail break at 86. It goes up. It takes 86.20s. Looks like, so last time it went to 86.20. This time it went to 86.20 once again. So basically the same thing. We got stopped out before. So I'm going to try the same short. Of course, I'm going to sit here trying to get 85.80, which is exactly the price we got. The spread just opened up a little bit here. 30 cents down on the bid. That just came up and opened up. So if we can get it on the fill, I'm not going to chase it down. I'm not hitting the bid to take 50s. I want to make sure I'm getting it tight to that high of the day, risk about 40 to 50 cents to the top, because that's where our first target's going to be, just below 85 even. We'll see if it happens. We were asked about Upstart, probably because it's getting to 100. 100 is a nice, round, obvious number that everyone wants to look at. It's right here, right now. Upstart had a big flush. Oh, of course, this is not going to show. You know what? I got to do this for you guys very quickly. This chart is working, so I'm just going to quickly pop up my nice black chart to be able to show you all the data from yesterday. But look at this 100 break. Just very briefly in the afternoon yesterday, getting to that 100 and then 50 cent level before falling with the rest of the overall market harshly. So I'm not really looking at $100. I think it can easily break, and then you add that 150. Just wanted to make sure you guys saw that. This 2 days in a row, 105, 100, 95. So I get it. You should be looking at each $5 increment on Upstart, but it did make a slight break of that in the afternoon before fading off a little bit later.
Okay, yeah, thank you again for all the nice talk there. Thank you, Playmaker. Thank you, Sia, as well as guess what else is happening right now? Uh-oh, to the moon goes Facebook. We just take out that 225, and we're long right here. So we got $2.50 in the money on this name, and we're at the highest spot we've been at all day, which is great because the show is about to end, and then we'll go over to Arun over there with Market Movers. Prad will not be here again today. It'll be Arun coming through in a couple minutes. So we'll help him out. And look at this move, man. We just got Pfizer as well. So yeah, that's a chicken dinner winner for you here today. What a difference a day makes. Pfizer short, crushing it. Facebook and Microsoft at day's high. Maybe we get out. I don't know. What is, early lunch. Okay. What's up, Brendo?
Quickly, guys, before we wrap things up, let's get some earnings. Just noticed on this board, disregard Peloton because it would appear they were out this morning in the pre-market, but that is to come tonight and tomorrow morning.
Exciting. Canopy. Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of the other interesting names are going to come later on. I know Digital Turbine was on the upgrade and downgrade list, but yeah, pretty slow for earnings there unless you're into CVS.
I mean, I know what I'll be trading, guys. Sticky note. So check out the sticky note tomorrow at Trader TV, Sean. We've been hitting it today. It's perfect. So we'll be looking at some of those names. And if the reports come out bangers, we'll look at them. So like we didn't look at Hog. Well, we looked at Hog, but we didn't even look at it once the show started, really.
We did. It was a perfect entry at the level I said. I just didn't get the trade because I canceled my order at 9:35 like an idiot.
Right. So, yeah, so we didn't trade Hog, but we did look at it. So you're right on that one. That's another name to look at. Wow, Peloton. Okay, like Peloton by far my best trade today, man. I mean, this name just takes off. Wow, 37? Wow. Like when I was talking about a buyout of this a couple weeks ago, like I didn't think we'd get all the way back up here. This is even before a price has been announced yet for Peloton. So, wow, congratulations to anybody that hit that earlier on today. And we'll hit that. But yeah, that's what it is, man. Good one, Sarah. Sticky Note Nation takes a village. You are right, Dan Duval. It's Sticky Note Nation time, and that's what it is. Building you guys up, building up community, right? That's what I'm all about. That's why I do what I do on Twitter. It's for you guys. It's building the community up, right? And so thank you for continuing to support it. Look, with only 2 minutes left, it's going to be a good afternoon. There's tons of stock moving. The futures have gone like green to red a bunch of times now, and now we're up 0.36 and still rocking near at and over the day's high right now for the NASDAQ. So that should be an interesting run. We'll wait to see what Arun's been trading and what he's thinking about. I'm not getting out of DWAC until I lose on the trade. So this has to go all the way back to 80 before I do anything on this name. It's already taken out 86, but stopped there. So we'll see if we get another run to DWAC for 86. But other than that, man, all aboard today. It's been a fantastic day with only now 40 seconds left in our show. Join us back, though, for show at 2 p.m.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And look, reality is, the close could be far. I don't necessarily think we'll get anything as crazy as what we saw in DWAC at the end of the day, but I guarantee you the market, which has basically always put in moves at the end, should be a hectic one to trade. We're going to send you on over. It's going to be, look, actually, I did see Trader Pratt in the chat a little bit earlier today, so maybe he'll check back in there. He should be back at some point soon, but Arun is going to be on the ones and twos. Miss V is back next week. A couple of people have asked about that. She'll be back in the desk, and we'll be back on Monday. But until then, we're signing off, sending you guys to Market Movers, where Arun has got you.
All right. Welcome to the Arun Show. I've taken over the show. No, I'm joking. It's just me for a couple days. Prad will be back. Valeria will be back next week for anyone wondering. So it'll just be me for today, and I'm sure you'll have Prad back at some point this week, either tomorrow or maybe the day after. And then Platinum Pride in the house, most likely at some point next week. I know we've given the date of February 14th, but that may be up in the air a little bit. So give it some time. It will happen.